Yeonwoo finally grasps the worn pocket watch left behind by his twin, who vanished into thin air years ago. Out of nowhere, a glowing system prompt glimmers before his eyes, shattering his reality as the shocking truth sinks in. He's inherited his brother's legacy. Pure mana, an energy exclusive to the mysterious tower, surges violently through his veins. The agony is soul-crushing, yet this is merely a fraction of the draconic physique his sibling once wielded. The system awakens a legendary skill, Dragon Eyes, granting him the vision to dissect truth and analyze any opponent's strength. His cold-blooded trait grants him icy composure, shielding his psyche from any attempt at manipulation or mental interference. Every sense is dialed to the absolute limit, but the true prize isn't just raw physical evolution. It's the memories. Yeonwoo absorbs the entire harrowing chronicle of his brother's desperate climb to conquer the tower. Desperate to save their dying mother, Jongwoo braved hundreds of floors and secured the medicine only to meet a tragic fate, backstabbed and butchered by his own allies. In that instant, Yeonwoo decides he's diving into that hellish tower himself. Power is a bonus. His real mission is to hunt down every last traitor who murdered his sibling. Moving like a man possessed, he gears up with blades and essentials before racing toward a local park. This is the spot. Suddenly, the air fractures as swirling obsidian smoke consumes the surroundings, revealing the hidden gateway. A menacing portal takes shape. Standing before it, Yeonwoo vows a blood-soaked retribution against those who crossed his family. Fueled by pure spite, he crosses the threshold. His first destination, the brutal proving grounds of Floor 1. Yeonwoo awakens within the same eerie corridor detailed in his brother's temporal journal, feeling the weight of the journey ahead. This death trap is a crucible for players aiming for godhood, offering infinite potential to those who survive its horrors. This trial sifts the weak from the worthy. Somewhere far ahead, the snakes who ruined Jongwoo are waiting. The mere thought of his brother's suffering sets his blood on fire. But first, he must crush this tutorial. He's not just passing. He's aiming for rank 1 by snatching up every elusive hidden piece the stage offers. These secret treasures are scattered throughout, providing massive stat boosts before a player even begins the true ascent. A voice booms through the hall, thrilled by the arrival of fresh meat. An enigmatic figure descends to greet him. Armed with sleek blades, Yeonwoo faces a dapper goblin who politely suggests he lowers his guard for a moment. The creature introduces himself as Evoca, the stage administrator, before breaking down the structure of the upcoming trials. The zones span from A to G, with performance scores dictated by the difficulty of the feats performed. Top-tier scores guarantee legendary rewards. Participants are granted a 30-day window to complete the entire gauntlet. Pacing is up to the individual, but Yeonwoo is already a week behind the other competitors. Evoca suggests waiting for the next round, noting that the frontrunners have already carved out an insurmountable lead. While others think the gap is too wide to close, Yeonwoo knows he's cut from a far more ruthless cloth. He dives in regardless. Evoca mentions that while squads are recommended, solo play is where the real glory lies. The system heavily favors the lone wolves. Solo achievements grant a massive multiplier to the final ranking. Impressed by his resolve, the goblin confirms the tower rewards risk, with precision scaling rewards to the level of danger. Evoca wonders if this bravado will lead to a swift grave, or the birth of an unprecedented legend. As the administrator vanishes, the countdown to destiny begins. The brutal test of survival is officially underway. 7 checkpoints stand between him and victory, with his final legacy carved by the score he manages to rack up. Crossing the line, Yeonwoo plunges into Section A, a mechanical nightmare designed to shred any intruder with lethal traps. A hidden blade instantly lashes out, grazing his flank. He's studied these mechanisms in the diary, but theory isn't reality. Foresight is useless when the triggers are randomized, turning the hallway into a chaotic, unpredictable kill zone. He weaves through the chaos using his pack as a makeshift shield against a sudden volley of poisoned arrows. The difficulty is spiking. Behind his mask, he frantically calculates how to minimize his physical profile against the relentless barrage. Disaster strikes as a stray bolt burrows into his thigh from a blind spot, stalling his momentum. A rain of projectiles follows, threatening to shut down his nervous system as the venom begins to take hold. Only his superhuman pain tolerance and icy mental fortitude keep him standing through the agonizing toxic shock. He's in deep trouble. Despite being in the easiest zone, he's already leaking blood from a dozen wounds. Gritting his teeth, he yanks a shaft from his arm, dreading the absolute carnage waiting in the floors above. Clenching his teeth against the searing agony, his shaky hands quickly patch up his bleeding gashes. System alerts flash persistently, confirming his passive skill is barely suppressing the toxic venom coursing through him. Wounds bandaged, the masked warrior pushes forward, recalling the precise, rhythmic pattern of the incoming arrow barrage. He has cracked the signal code. Now he just needs to exploit it. Tracking iron bolts mid-darkness is exhausting. His survival hinges on the gear's clicks. Once they grind, he has only a split second to dodge. Activating sensory enhancement, he sharpens his hearing, until the distant mechanical churning finally echoes through the corridor. The trap is primed. Pinpointing the sound, Yanwu drives his blade upward, striking the mechanism's core with precision. The trap shatters. Honestly, how did that blade even manage to puncture the solid stone ceiling like that? Spent arrows clatter uselessly to the floor. Having cleared the first hurdle, Yanwu relies on his heightened senses. He is locked in for this zone. Suddenly, the man starts weaving through attacks like he unlocked Ultra Instinct. Fun fact, evading specific bolts grants buffs. Weaving past blue arrows permanently boosts his overall movement speed. Parrying red ones cranks up his strength, while yellow bolts must strike him to fortify his stamina and endurance. Realizing he only has base stats, Yanwu turns this hell into a farm. He hacks up blood from exhaustion. While pondering a mana boost, Yanwu searches for a method to maximize all his attributes without getting killed. From the surveillance hub, the host Avolke watches closely, genuinely impressed by the rookie's insane level of composure. He ignores Section E, focusing solely on the Section A elites. The goblin sees massive potential in Yanwu. He realizes that if our main character conquers the remaining trials, there is absolutely zero doubt left. He will be the tutorial's main attraction. Meanwhile, Yanwu receives a notification upon finally reaching the terminal zone. His attributes have skyrocketed minus mana, a legendary haul for just one day. But wait, there is more. Raw power surges through him. With enhanced strength and mobility, his lethality is officially off the charts. Entering the next chamber, golden mana washes over him. Yanwu feels his broken body knitting back together instantly. This terminal is a safe haven. He finally catches his breath, yet even with his wounds gone, Bro literally passes out from sheer mental exhaustion. When his eyes snap open, a mysterious hooded figure stands there. The stranger pranks him with a cheap jump scare. Terrifyingly, despite Yanwu's high-tier sensory skills, he could not detect a single trace of this man's presence. Stunned, he guesses this is the legendary merchant. Bullseye. The man introduces himself as Merchant A, an NPC helper providing essential gear and supplies to players. Appearing randomly, these traders peddle everything from basic rations and healing potions to god-tier ancient artifacts. Yanwu scans the digital inventory, meticulously weighing every potential purchase to maximize his survival in this death game. The shop boasts Medusa's venom, a golden Goron horn, and even Tiamat's legendary left eye. These artifacts are absolute fire, but a broke tutorial rookie has zero chance of affording such high-end loot. Yanwu prioritizes his raw physical stats over flashy gear. Scrolling down, he spots the reset ticket, a total game changer that immediately catches his attention. It lets players warp back to any previous point in the floor. The cost of admission, however, is brutal. You pay with your own stats. In Yanwu's eyes, this feels like the ultimate scam, because this greedy merchant demands 2 whole strength points for a measly bottle of water. Yanwu finally makes his move. He declares his intent to buy, offering to sacrifice every single stat point for those precious reset tickets. The merchant notes that Yanwu is the first player crazy enough to actually request such a specific item. Others only care about passing the next floor, but Yanwu wants to stay and grind the first one. Impressed by his strategy, the merchant explains the mechanics: just tear the ticket at your desired checkpoint. You will warp back instantly. Once the transaction clears, the strange trader vanishes into thin air. Yanwu's strength evaporates instantly as his stats revert to 0. The power drain is immediate and cold. Holding 10 tickets, Yanwu tears one. A brilliant pillar of golden light erupts, engulfing him completely. He is pulled back to floor 0 of the tutorial. The nightmare begins anew right at the start. This time, he is going for the high score. Arrows scream toward him from every single angle imaginable. Yanwu expertly weaves through blue bolts and parries the red ones. Soon, his training loop finally pays off. After endless repetition, his draconic eyes finally evolve, triggering a mind-bending state of synesthesia. As he unleashes this power for the first time, Yanwu freezes, awestruck by the sheer clarity. The world's colors bleed away into a void, leaving nothing but a stark white abyss, etched with obsidian structural lines. These aren't just marks, they're the fundamental blueprints of all existence. His late brother Zhongwu called these waves. Reaching the terminal, Yanwu finally ends his relentless cycle of training. He crushes 10 tickets in a mere 4 hours, a god-tier speedrun compared to the full day his first attempt took. With his stats hitting the roof, he's officially a nightmare for any rival player. Surveying the area, Yanwu calculates that Section E is likely crawling with players now. It's time to floor it and leave everyone in the dust. Without missing a beat, our MC hunts down the first section's boss. His mission: absolute domination by speedrunning Section B in one go. Fueled by cracked agility, the masked warrior blurs forward. A hail of flaming arrows suddenly whistles through the air, but his god-level reflexes swat them aside effortlessly. To Yanwu, every wasted millisecond is a sin. Then unexpectedly, a hidden pressure plate snaps, launching him toward a lethal bed of spikes. In this game, one slip-up means instant death, so he contorts mid-air with impossible grace, sticking the landing on the far side. His speed stat ticks up once more, But the next trial is the real kicker. The corridor is a roaring furnace. Amidst the searing heat, Yunwoo draws his blade, cleaving through the inferno to forge a clear path. Armed with a mind of steel and a body built for agony, his passive skills carry him through the wall of fire unscathed. Next up, a massive, bone-crushing mace that nearly turns him into a pancake, but he dances around it with finesse, farming more stat points with every dodge. After surviving the gauntlet, a heavy blow to the gut sends the wind out of him. He pauses to steady his breath, squaring off against a copper dummy designed to mimic his every move. Thankfully, Jungwoo's diary detailed these mechanical terrors, which mirror a player's techniques to force them into a brutal survive-or-die evolution. Fail to overcome your own shadow, and you're trapped here for eternity. Option 1, brutal force smashing its face in. But the pro-gamer move is much cleaner, a precise lethal stab. Yunwoo drops into a low combat stance. He triggers his draconic eyes, bleaching the world white once more. Now the dummy's fatal flaw glows like a beacon, allowing him to zero in on its chest. As the machine prepares to counterattack, a sudden voice rings out, screaming at him to target the creature's sensor. Yunwoo doesn't blink. He's been tracking this lurker's presence for ages. Ignoring the distraction, our MC slides to the flank and drives his blade deep into the copper chest, obliterating the core sensor instantly. He already had the intel, but his sheer efficiency in destroying the dummy leaves the mysterious onlooker completely shook. Yunwoo shoots a cold glance back, making the guy jump out of his skin. Yunwoo notes that the dummy's weakness is nearly impossible to spot without his enhanced draconic vision, making it low-key suspicious that this random player figured it out too. He looms over the newcomer. One scan confirms the kid is a total weakling. When the boy stammers about his intentions, the masked warrior cuts straight to the chase. Regarding the dummy's secrets, he demands to know how a low-level player could possibly possess such high-tier knowledge. It turns out the kid can actually perceive the magical threads powering the puppet. This confirms Yunwoo's hunch. The boy possesses a rare innate talent for seeing the flow of mana with his naked eyes. Hooked by this unique ability, Yunwoo asks how he can replicate the technique, knowing it'll be a massive power-up once he starts mastering actual magic circles later on. He offers a fair trade, realizing the kid has likely been hard stuck in this section for way too long. Yunwoo's price: he'll carry the kid through this hellhole. It's a win-win. The boy is stunned into silence, leading Yunwoo to shrug and walk away. But the kid frantically stops him, still reeling from the offer. He can't wrap his head around how Yunwoo just admitted he can't use magic. What's truly mind-blowing is that the masked man demolished a copper dummy with 0 mana. Normally, even with high-tier physical skills, these dummies are tanky as hell, so seeing one get deleted by pure physical prowess is straight up insane. The kid begins to wonder who this masked monster really is. They strike a deal, and the boy introduces himself as Yule. When Yule asks for his orders, Yunwoo gives him one simple command: just keep up. But then Yunwoo's gaze turns sharp as he asks why this guy is trying to play such a deceptive game. Through the lens of the draconic eyes, the truth is laid bare. This player is hiding their true identity. Despite being a tiny 10-year-old, Yunwoo puts the brat in his place, demanding respect for their clear age gap. Moving on, our protagonist continues shredding through those metal dummies like they are made of paper. He obliterates the second, then the third, completely wiping the floor with every single target in sight. Watching him dominate so effortlessly is insane. Yunwoo then notes they have arrived, demanding the kid spill his secrets. Yule reveals his visual mana ability. That word innate immediately catches Yunwoo's attention. He deduces it is a rare bloodline skill, since having such a natural gift is almost unheard of. In this world, certain genetic quirks can manifest as incredibly powerful and unique abilities. These special genes are passed down, creating legendary lineages defined by their extraordinary traits. Descendants are destined to awaken these powers at specific moments, continuing the cycle for the next generation. Yule confirms this, explaining he can literally see, feel, and even taste the surrounding magic. This ultimate magical affinity is exactly how he pinpointed the copper dummy's fatal weakness so quickly. Interestingly, Yunwoo's brother Jungwoo possessed a similar gift called perfect adaptation. Because he was so in sync with the world, mana felt like a natural extension of himself. While most struggled for years to adapt to mana, Jungwoo faced 0 obstacles on his path. Activating his power for the first time felt as natural as finding a lost treasure. Jungwoo was a true prodigy, a fact Yunwoo only knows thanks to his brother's old recordings. He was even handpicked by the ancient dragon, inheriting draconic skills through his ability to communicate with all life. Bringing it back to Yule, the kid insists he is no genius compared to a legend like Jungwoo. He describes magic like a vast reservoir, and soon the two finally clear Section A. Having conquered it solo, Yunwoo bags a massive reward of 800 karma points. With his stats fully restored, he focuses on karma, the most vital resource within this tower. Administrators use it as a universal currency, allowing players to buy or sell anything they need to survive. For any player, the ultimate goal is to hoard as many karma points as humanly possible. Clearing just one section with this much karma is unheard of. Nobody would believe his current total. But he is not satisfied. Seeking more, Yeonwoo enters Section B, a massive white coliseum crawling with players. The newcomers are shook, watching this mysterious masked player qualify so late in the game. His sudden appearance catches everyone off guard. Yeonwoo turns, asking if Yul is coming inside. The boy freezes, trembling as the reality of escaping the first section finally hits him. He glares at a group nearby vultures who are staring him down with pure malice. Yeonwoo instantly realizes these clowns are the former teammates who left the kid for dead. Yul keeps explaining the mana stream, and Yeonwoo is stunned by how much the kid actually knows. Though some of it is complex, Yeonwoo grasps the basics while hunting for the easiest control method. Unfortunately, Yul is such a natural talent that he cannot explain the how to a beginner. Since the kid just does it, Yeonwoo drops the subject. He is a natural, not a teacher. He asks if Yul will leave after the tutorial, and after a nod, they prepare to split. But just as Yeonwoo departs, a thug steps up to corner the defenseless boy. Let us rewind to when Yul's old party was failing Section A until they met a high-tier scout. This was Bill from the Arat group offering them a ticket into Section B under his wing. They were desperate to join the Arats, the dominant force that gatekeeps the tutorial every single time. But during the boss stage, these clowns were absolutely getting wrecked by the copper dummies. Their leader realized they were doomed, until his desperate eyes landed on another player. There stood Yul, eyes glowing as he mapped out the flow of mana with pure determination. Knowing the kid could not fight, that coward decided to use him in the worst way possible. He grabbed Yul and threw him at the dummies as a meat shield to buy time. They left him to die while he screamed for help, but now Yul's eyes hold only cold contempt. Those trashy ex-teammates are losing their minds over his impossible survival. But the elite mage stays silent coldly, ordering them to vanish from his sight. Their betrayal was so revolting he wanted them to act like total strangers. Overwhelmed by cowardice, the leader bows low, begging Yul to bury the truth. I actually hoped for a redemption arc, but he is just hiding his sins. The coward repeatedly implores Yul to stay quiet, fearing for their reputations. Terrified of the consequences, the entire group offers their hollow fake apologies. Yul ignores their mindless yapping. He just wants those pathetic faces gone forever. Never again, he declares, walking away as their desperate pleas fall flat. The snake was terrified the guild would find out Yul survived their trap. They bet everything on Yul dying in the tutorial, but he returned alive. This ruins their elite recruitment plans, so the cockroach prepares a second betrayal. Feeling zero guilt, he realizes this isolated spot is perfect for a murder. Reaching for his sword, the idiot bets the guild won't recognize Yul. They could easily fabricate a lie, so the cockroach starts acting all-powerful. Suddenly, a masked reaper appears behind him. Yeonwoo reveals their dark secrets. He barely processes the words before a devastating slash tears through the air. Howling in pure agony over his severed limb, the others draw their steel. While their leader cries like a baby, Yeonwoo decides to intervene personally. He couldn't ignore this betrayal. Yul's pain reminded him of his own brother. His brother was also discarded. Now the party is paralyzed by this phantom. Yeonwoo mocks them for playing the victim while trying to murder a child. Despite losing an arm, the arrogant fool still tries to launch an attack. Yeonwoo shifts, slightly grabs the man's wrist, and snaps his other arm. Now completely helpless, the man listens as Yeonwoo threatens to shatter his legs. They tell him to butt out, but Yeonwoo just adopts their savage logic. He commands them to drop their weapons, leaving the cowards shaking in fear. To speed things up, he twists the shattered limb until they surrender. Swords hit the floor instantly. Behind his mask, the hunter is smirking. Calling them utter morons, he crushes the leader's back with a heavy boot. The traitorous rat blackouts from the pain, while his friends start complaining. Yeonwoo delivers a legendary slap that sends the guy spinning to the floor. The final two try a desperate pincer attack, but he is ready. In a flash of steel, he zips past, neutralizing both enemies in seconds. He finishes the job by delivering heavy-duty punches to their pathetic faces. Yul watches in absolute awe, realizing he's witnessing a true monster's power. He tells the kid to wipe his chin before he starts drooling. Then he gives him some cold advice: never trust your teammates so easily. As he walks away, Yul shouts a heartfelt thank you at his back. Determined to grow strong, Yul listens as Yeonwoo mentions Frisia Garden. It's a hidden location where a mage like him can truly evolve. With that tip, Yeonwoo leaves and Yul steals his resolve for the future. Nearby, a mysterious redhead has been watching the entire one-sided slaughter. He nudges his sleepy friend, who is annoyed at his nap being ruined. He explains how those arrogant recruits just got absolutely humbled by a ghost. It was honestly a total mid-outcome. Those clowns only cared about clout and were basically trash from the jump. Then the bombshell drops. Redhead spills that a lone wolf absolutely wiped them. But wait, there's more. This beast cleared Section A solo, a total flex for someone who barely made the cutoff time. Greenie is shook. He knows Yeonwoo wrecking the orange group is basically a death wish. They'll trigger the Blue Flower Island group, though these nobodies weren't even official members yet. Redhead's cooking up a plan. He sees Yeonwoo's raw potential and wants him on the squad as soon as possible. Unclaimed solo goats are rare, making this the perfect window to strike. But Shorty isn't sold yet. He's paranoid that linking up with Yeonwoo will put a massive target on their backs. Redhead mocks his sudden cold feet, teasingly suggesting they just shadow Yeonwoo for now. The stealth play feels mid to his buddy, who thinks creeping around is a total snooze fest. No-cap Redhead's hair is a total vibe. Even with the bratty attitude, his friend tags along for the ride. He claims he'll actually vibe with this mission more. Boom Section B's trial officially kicks off. 4 paths lie ahead. Choose one, or perish. The door on the far right, pure nightmare fuel. The left is a walk in the park. It's all about risk versus reward. His brother Jungwoo took the safe bet with the blue door. His crew wanted zero smoke after that Block A chaos, but instant regret hit once the secrets leaked. You see the loot scales with the danger level. High risk means god-tier items, so our MC locks in and targets the legendary black door. The prize, the iconic Bathory's vampiric dagger. He steps into the abyss of the black root. The mission crossed the pond unscathed. This 1,000-pound water is a literal death trap for mortals. Yeonwoo tests the waters by flicking a pebble. The moment it hits the rock, instantly vaporizes. This isn't H2O. The density and pressure are cranked up to a bone-crushing level. It's a nightmare for any player. Yeonwoo ignites his draconic eyes to scan for a glitch in the matrix. With one touch, he triggers a hidden hatch. Beneath the pond lies the real path, a deadly labyrinth. Welcome to the Room of Frost and Flame. Discovery alone bags him 300 points as the dungeon awakens. He spots the white moss instantly. It's moon energy incarnate, but eating it raw is straight-up suicide. The black route is brutal, but it's not just a straight brawl. There are high IQ plays available. That moss is the key. It's overflowing with lunar power, but it's toxic to any normal human system. Most players would just hard pass on it. But here's the plot twist. Jungwoo cracked the code. He discovered a secret recipe to synthesize it. He peeped the local bugs to figure it out. Those pests radiate intense heat to digest the moss. Their hearts are literal furnaces of fire nature. The moss is pure water essence. Balance that with fire and you get a god-tier power-up. It's a total physical overhaul. Yeonwoo needs to shed his soft human limits and evolve his stats. As he plots his ascent, a monstrous centipede is already locked onto him from the shadows. But Yeonwoo is built different. He spins with a lethal slash, painting the walls with centipede blood. This red centipede is the apex predator here, and that white moss is its favorite snack. Blind but deadly, it craves fresh meat. Suddenly, the system pings with a brand new hidden quest. Objective: exterminate the fire beasts. The more he slaughters, the bigger the payout will be. Loot is waiting. The beast surges forward, its 1,000 legs blurring as it tries to flatten him. Yeonwoo hits a wall. His blade can't dent that armor. That exoskeleton is basically an impenetrable tank. His previous strike was pure luck. With no way to gauge its health, a direct brawl is suicide. He needs a speedrun strategy. Once again, his draconic eyes activate to find the fatal flaw. He pinpoints the monster's Achilles heel. The beast scurries to the ceiling, preparing to drop. It readies a final pounce, but Yeonwoo is already timing the perfect lethal counterthrust. As it dives, Yeonwoo lunges upward, parkouring across its massive body to reach the kill zone. He flips his grip in midair, driving both blades deep, but it's not going to be that easy. The finishing blow fails. The centipede's hidden inner shell is too thick. The monster retaliates, whipping its massive tail. Yeonwoo is slammed into the wall, coughing up blood. He totally underestimated the creature's speed and power. He's taken massive damage. To make matters worse, the internal injuries have left him both stunned and poisoned. We're talking 4 broken bones, 2 spinal fractures, and a ruptured thigh vein. This is looking catastrophic. Only his passive skill keeps him conscious. Seconds pass, and the paralyzing shock finally starts to lift. His natural resistance clears the venom. Clutching his blade once more, Yeonwoo prepares for one last stand. Thanks to his physical resistance skill, he maintains a cold, unwavering composure even in this hellish scenario. Those teeth are straight out of a horror movie as the beast lunges to finish the job. Yeonwoo awakens fighting will. He blocks the strike, driving his blade straight through the creature's gnarly mouth. He parries the lunge, sending the centipede crashing. Yeonwoo quickly calculates his next move against the monster's weakness. Locking onto the abdomen, he drives his sword deep into the beast's soft underbelly with lethal precision. Blue blood sprays everywhere as he repeatedly slashes. The gore is intense, but he doesn't stop. Finally, the monster breathes its last. Exhausted, Yeonwoo watches the light fade from the centipede's eyes. The system confirms the kill. Since he took down a high-level boss, the bonus rewards are massive. Barely standing, Yeonwoo removes his mask. He grabs the white moss, ready to initiate his recovery. He devours the moss, feeling a strange energy surge through his veins, stitching his wounds back together. Next, he carves open the massive carcass. He's looking for the prize hidden within the centipede's remains. He finds the glowing blue core, the secret ingredient. Without hesitation, Yanwu swallows it whole to level up. Elsewhere, Build is fuming after seeing the traumatized survivors. Someone actually dared to humiliate his favorite group. He's livid that someone ignored the Iron Group's reputation. This mysterious player has no fear of consequences. Build calls Yanwu arrogant. He hears rumors of a white-masked devil who wiped out the entire party. That mask is a dead giveaway. Build is now on a mission to hunt down this masked stranger. Meanwhile, Yanwu consumes the heart. Combined with the moss, a legendary healing effect triggers inside him. Shattered bones knit back together, and his muscles harden. His first major hunt is officially a success. He gains a crucial quest clue. Taking a breather, he's hyped about securing such a rare, powerful treasure. He's only leveled up slightly, yet his physical power has skyrocketed. He feels like a completely different person. This one centipede gave him better stats than the Section A boss. Yanwu is finally seeing the gains. His mana pool is still tiny, but he's prioritizing skills for now. He knows mana is vital later on. The path to succession is still miles away. Each floor is only going to get more brutal from here. The dragon body requires massive mana to truly shine. He's eager for power, but knows he must stay patient. He realizes that worrying won't change his stats. Honestly, that's a pretty solid life lesson for all of us. His physical tolerance is through the roof now. He's becoming a literal tank in the heat of battle. This durability will be a game changer. Cold nature is the only reason he didn't snap during that training. But even with that, repeated mental trauma will eventually break him if he's not careful with his fatigue. Fatigue management is the key to survival. Luckily, cold nature provides a massive buff against mental debuffs. It grants him resistance to poisons and curses, making it the ultimate support skill for a solo player. Then there's Fighting Will, which turns his brain into a supercomputer, allowing for split-second tactical decisions. Rated as a D+ class skill, it's an absolute steal for this early in the tower. Mask back on Yanwu enters beast mode. He starts farming infrasound bats like it's nothing. His kill streak hits 147. This man is giving off major Sung Jin Woo vibes right now. He harvests bat fangs to mix with centipede blood and moss. He's cooking up something dangerous. The mixture causes the monster parts to incinerate instantly, leaving behind a potent glowing monster powder. This powder is infused with fire. Just a single spark triggers a massive, violent explosion. Basically, he just crafted budget grenades. He packs them away and heads deeper into the dark dungeon. Next up, a massive army of blue ants and their eggs. Time to dismantle their entire hierarchy. Rule of the hive, every worker is a suicidal shield for their queen. Charging in blindly is a death sentence. Yet, the legendary blade awaits just past this nightmare. Beyond this path lies the vampire dagger once wielded by the blood-soaked monarch Bathory. Long deceased, she was a calamity who fueled her godlike power with the blood of millions. Her name alone chills the blood of every player. In this world, numbers define an artifact's lethality. Lower digits mean world-breaking power. This blade sits at number 352 for now. Even so, it's a one-of-a-kind treasure, and Yanwu is dead set on claiming it. He's not rushing in like a noob. He's playing 4D chess as the hive senses his arrival. Armed with explosive monster powder, he hurls the bags deep into the hive before flicking his lighter. He tosses the spark, turning the nest into a high-octane Michael Bay explosion that shreds the swarm. The tunnel vanishes. 306 ants are deleted from existence, racking up insane bonus points. Blade in hand, Yanwu mops up the dazed survivors. The blast fried the larvae, but the veterans remain. These persistent workers still hunger for blood. It's a grueling grind, but our boy doesn't flinch. He won't stop until that dagger is his. Even after that hellish inferno, the real boss awakens. The ground trembles. The true nightmare is finally crawling out of the shadows to greet him. The colossal queen ant looms over him, her wings charred and mangled from the previous explosion. Her sheer scale is terrifying, but Yanwu stays frosty as the boss locks onto him with murderous intent. With a bone-chilling shriek, she slams her massive limbs down, but our protagonist blurs past the impact. Amidst the chaos, he searches for the hidden gate. The tension is thick enough to cut. The flaming queen relentlessly pursues him through the smoke. Finally, the doorway reveals itself in the gloom. He makes his move, launching 3 daggers in a blur of motion that strike the queen's armored skull. It's a perfect distraction. Yanwu slides underneath her, his blade singing as it carves through her legs. Limbs severed, the titan collapses in a heap of gore, giving Yanwu just enough time to slip inside. He pushes through the heavy doors and enters the eerie, majestic sanctum of the vampire monarch. There she stands, Bathory's statue, clutching the legendary unique-grade blade that once conquered the world. Victory is within reach. This hidden piece is the key to closing the gap with the top rankers. With its savage attack power and a passive that forces enemies to bleed out, it's a total game-changer. Hemorrhaging on every hit. That's pure value. But there's a secret hidden within the steel. A dormant ultimate ability lies sealed, waiting for a master worthy enough to awaken its true terror. Under the statue's cold gaze, he bows before seizing the hilt. Immediately, the room turns cold. Crimson and obsidian tendrils snake up his arms. The dagger's dark ego is trying to consume him. This blade chooses its owner. Fail the test and your mind will shatter into 1,000 pieces. Can a rookie fresh out of Section A survive this mental assault? It's a gamble with his very soul. But his brother's diary held one last trump card, a forbidden ritual to tame the untamable. To any observer, he looks absolutely unhinged. He raises his own hand as a sacrificial offering. Without blinking, he drives the cursed blade straight through his palm with bone-crushing force. A sinister mist explodes from the wound, as Yeonwoo recalls the weapon's true terrifying name. Bathory's greed transcended death. She'd rather warp her weapon's form than let a stranger wield it. But this bloody gamble shatters the curse. The seal breaks, revealing the dagger's true god-slaying form. It ascends to rank 66, manifesting a ghoulish power that allows it to feast upon the souls of the fallen. The blade transforms into a gory skeletal arm. Its secondary perk, the lethal bloodmark ability. Once a vital spot is struck, the target begins to bleed uncontrollably, their life force draining away. It even leeches their stamina. This is a top-tier skill that even high rankers would kill to possess. In the future, this blade could let him harvest stats and even steal the skills of his enemies. Smirking, Yeonwoo heads back to the door. It's time to test his new toy on the queen. With a flash of steel, he shreds through the swarming ants. The queen lunges for a kill, but Yeonwoo's reflexes are cracked, and he vaults into the air to dodge. Landing squarely on her crown, he unsheathes his manifested dagger, letting the cursed blade feast on her very existence with pure wrath. Eat, he commands. The vital weapon obeys instantly, aggressively, draining every last drop of life force from the queen ant. His weapon proficiency skyrockets as the stolen essence surges through him, permanently buffing our boy's raw strength stats in the process. Seconds later, the massive queen is nothing but a shriveled, dried-up husk. Victory secured, he bags 300 karma points. The hive mind shatters in terror. Their society is finished, as Yeonwoo resumes his cold-blooded subjugation of the remaining swarm. Elsewhere, a red-headed player and his companion are lurking in the shadows, stealthily tracking our boy deeper into the dungeon abyss. Their chatter stops when they stumble upon a mountain of monster corpses, realizing Yeonwoo has been on a literal warpath. They're low-key shook, unable to fathom how one solo player could possess such terrifying god-tier power all on his own. These floor monsters aren't fodder, they're elite threats. But then a chilling detail catches their attention and freezes them in their tracks. They notice the carcasses are completely mummified, drained by an incomprehensible soul-sucking ability they can't even begin to wrap their heads around. Where did he find such a demonic blood-sucking artifact? To them, Yeonwoo is moving like a literal deity of destruction. Dominating as a solo and wielding a hidden relic, the redhead realizes here and now that they're witnessing a legend in the making. This guy is a generational talent. He knows if the major clans find out, they'll hunt him just to force a recruitment. They need to act now. Suddenly, blood-curdling screeches of dying monsters echo through the corridor, snapping them back to reality. The noise is coming from up ahead where the ants are retreating in pure panic. Both players know Yeonwoo must be right there. While they watch in awe, Yeonwoo carves through brown-scale salamanders, officially hitting a massive 1-1,000 monster kill streak. Finally, he has harvested every rare piece required to complete the quest for the Heart of Fire and Crest of Frost. Upon completion, a violent evolution begins. His very anatomy rewrites itself, reinforcing his body several folds over with new power. Peeking at his status window, the numbers are cracked. Bathory's vampiric dagger has harvested a mountain of extra stats and skill points. By feasting on his foes, his upgraded anatomy now channels the legendary effects of both the Heart of Fire and Crest of Frost. His physical limits have vanished. He's tankier, faster, and now possesses a high-speed regeneration factor to survive any close-quarters encounter. This healing factor is a total game-changer, but Yeonwoo has a much bigger goal in mind for desiring this specific nature. This was all for his awakening. His ascension process resumes its surge, finally hitting the 21% mark. His flawed dragon physiology has officially evolved to the next stage. Yeonwoo's ultimate endgame is total ascension, no matter the cost. He needs a perfect vessel to contain his mounting godly powers. This reinforced anatomy is the crucial foundation for that evolution. The system pings with a rank update, offering to put his name and lights on the global leaderboard for the whole world. He denies it instantly. He's not chasing clout. Exposure right now would just put a massive target on his back. Looking at the board, Adora holds the top spot with 57,000 points. Our boy is currently sitting at 6,700. His rank is climbing, but the point gap is still insane. He can't wrap his head around why his score hasn't exploded yet. It makes him question just what kind of absolute monsters are Adora and the other top-tier players to have scores that high. Yeonwoo realizes he isn't the only prodigy in this tower. If he wants to reach the top, he's got to grind even harder. Suddenly, his senses tingle. An outsider is nearby. It's weird considering he hasn't seen another soul in this dungeon until now. He tenses up, suspecting the Orang group might have sent some goons to settle their petty grudge and take revenge. A shadow flickers. Instantly, Yeonwoo hurls his blade as a warning. The green-haired player didn't even anticipate the lethal incoming strike. He would have been a goner if his buddy hadn't stepped in. The redhead barely manages to deflect the blade in time. Enraged by the sudden attack, Yeonwoo assumes these guys are Orang lackeys and prepares to wipe them from the map. He's on edge, but the redhead quickly waves his hands, swearing they have zero affiliation with that group. Even for a pro attacking without a single word is totally unhinged, they complain, visibly rattled by the close call. Yeonwoo scoffs at them for stalking him. They put him in a position where he had to strike first to survive. Both friends bow in a quick apology, realizing they looked sus. Behind his mask, Yeonwoo decides to hear them out. He demands to know why they're following him. Beaming with excitement, they officially invite Yeonwoo to become their new comrade. The vibe is instantly ruined. Yeonwoo just stands there judging them in the most uncomfortable, awkward silence imaginable. Boyle is dying of secondhand embarrassment from that corny line, while Yeonwoo is internally thinking, "Yeah, I'm so done with this." He turns to dip, but the redhead grabs his shoulder, desperate for an answer from the masked powerhouse. Yeonwoo absolutely clowns the guy, rejecting him coldly while admitting he has zero clue who these nobodies are. Zero interest shown. Khan is shook that our MC doesn't recognize the tutorial's legendary rising star. Khan is a household name, but Doyle keeps it real. His friend is just a snobby, ego-tripping idiot. The guy's ego is truly massive. Doyle cuts the tension, introducing himself and his hot-headed partner, Khan. Those names aren't random. Yeonwoo remembers them dominating the rankings at 3rd and 11th place. Doyle gets the suspicion. Why are two elites grinding in Section B instead of rushing to Section E? Surprisingly, our MC stops the cold shoulder and actually gives these two a chance. It is all thanks to his draconic eyes, allowing him to peer deep into their very essence. He can sniff out lies through internal colors. Darker hues mean someone is hiding malicious negative intent. Pure vibes only. Both guys glow with bright pigments, proving they are actually genuine good people. They are telling the truth, but it's still sus. Why are ranking titans wasting time in Section B? Turns out they are headhunting. They wanted to scout talent like him before dropping a real proposal. Doyle asks if Yeonwoo is flying solo or with a crew. The instant no is music to his ears. They are hunting a legendary artifact in Block E, but the job requires a solid 3-man squad. Yeonwoo suggests a simple fix. Just hire some random mercenaries from that specific region. No luck there. Most players reaching Block E are already locked into contracts with major factions. Options are thin. Our boy realizes they probably camped in Block B just to find the perfect candidate. Witnessing him absolutely body, the newbies must have caught their attention instantly, even though Yeonwoo wasn't even trying to flex. The crazy part, despite being rank 3 and 11, this power duo still cannot get their hands on that specific Section E treasure. Based on the intel, Yeonwoo realizes it is the Hargan crown. His brother Jungwoo stumbled upon that lair by pure luck. The boss, Lizard King Hargan, is a total nightmare to solo. Slaying him nets the Hargan crown for an authority boost, but Yeonwoo is not a fan of the item. Plus, there is the trauma. Jungwoo was stabbed in the back by the very teammates he trusted most. He is the ultimate proof that loyalty is a joke. Even when you are down, your allies will snake you in this cutthroat world. In his eyes, teammates are just liabilities. If you must join a team, keep the circle small, easier to crush them if things go south. Doyle promises a massive payday, even offering a custom reward tailored to whatever Yeonwoo desires. The terms are actually fire, even if our boy isn't exactly thrilled about playing nice with others. That hidden artifact holds serious potential. Yeonwoo agrees to the deal, but with one major catch. He claims every single drop in the dungeon except for the boss's hidden treasure. Talk about a flex. They agree as long as he carries his weight. The loudmouth Khan extends a hand, hyped for battle. He calls it destiny that they became allies. Yeonwoo takes the bait and shakes on it. Knowing his real name is a liability, he uses the alias Kane. Section B's black route is officially cleared. Massive karma floods in for his solo flex. Without missing a beat, he starts annihilating sections C and D. Same energy, different floor. We skip ahead to find Khan absolutely starstruck by Yeonwoo's godlike growth. They picked him up in B, and now he is a beast. Section D, absolute light work. With his wounds fully mended, the trio finally steps out into the lush grasslands of Section E. Fresh air at last, way better than the claustrophobic, gloomy hellholes they have been crawling through. The tutorial is split, the indoor grind and the outdoor wild. Sections A through D were just warm-ups. That was for training. Sections E through G are the real deal, the outdoor proving grounds. Time to show if that indoor grinding actually paid off. The trial of Section E begins now. Yeonwoo scores his first blue token. These things are hidden across Section E like a deadly scavenger hunt. You can even trade them. To pass, you need 99 tokens. Khan thinks the whole system is trash. because the easiest way to get tokens, just rob or murder your competition for their stash. In this world, the shortcut to glory isn't hard work, it's straight up robbery. Most players turn into total savages here. One look at Khan and Doyle tells Yeonwoo everything he needs to know. They've definitely stacked an insane amount of tokens before burning a special ticket to drop into Section E. Yeonwoo's eyes are on the hidden artifact first. He's confident enough to grind for tokens solo later. This sector is absolutely massive, dwarfing everything they've encountered so far. Every zone is packed with unique death traps. To the north, jagged peaks tear through the sky. Those mountains kill the breeze entirely. The west holds lush plains while the south rolls with endless hills. Heading north leads into a suffocating forest that eventually rots into a treacherous, muddy marshland. Basically, Section E is a zoo of nightmares. Goblins and kobolds are crawling all over the woods. Trolls and ogres lurk in the shadows while lizardmen rule the north. Sandworms claim the east and west. Throw in some orcs and farming tokens becomes a total nightmare, while dodging constant attacks. Plus, you've got desperate players ready to slit your throat for your loot. There are way too many wildcards here. Regardless, the team must reach the swamp for that artifact. As they disappear into the trees, the focus shifts to Build, who just got word on the duo. Build is shook. Why would top-tier rankers team up with a masked rookie and drop to a low-level zone? His squad is clueless about their motives, but one thing's certain, they've been ghosts in Section E lately. Build blows a fuse over the delay, but his underling tries to play it cool. They never thought to track them. Build still can't wrap his head around this legendary duo joining the troublemaker. He suspects Yeonwoo is backed by some major shadow players. This whole mess is a slap in the face to Orang. To defend their name, he mobilizes the squad. The mission: hunt down the masked man immediately. The hunt is on. Meanwhile, our trio is kicking back and catching some rest by the campfire. Time is a blur. Yeonwoo's been grinding non-stop to get here. He looks up at the twin moons, lost in thought. The sky reminds him of his nights back in Africa. Suddenly, his gaze falls on the sleeping Khan. He notices how these two are always vibing and laughing, a total contrast to the typical bloodthirsty player. They've fully embraced this hellscape. It's like they're actually at peace in this nightmare reality. Yeonwoo is genuinely fascinated. He finds himself curious about their origins and how they started their journey. Their teamwork is flawless despite having zero formal training together. Their synergy is just on another level. Khan is the brute force, while Doyle is the tactical genius securing the win. Their minds are perfectly synced. It's like they share a single brain cell despite having only known each other for a short time. They act like they've been brothers for 10 years. The level of trust they share is absolutely insane. They'd literally die for each other. Yeonwoo wonders if they're related, but the math doesn't add up. They definitely come from elite stock. Regardless of their past, he knows one thing with absolute certainty. These guys are actually a blast to be around. He's not going to poke around in their private business. He's only this invested because their smiles spark memories of Jungwoo's pure heart. He quickly shuts down those feelings. He can't afford to let grief or weakness cloud his vision now. While he's lost in thought, the duo suddenly snaps awake long before their shift starts. Doyle grumbles, asking why Yeonwoo hasn't dealt with the rats, watching them from the shadows. Yeonwoo was just waiting for them to walk into his trap, but his friends are already up. Doyle just chuckles. He's down for some midnight cardio, but he wonders if Khan knows why they're being hunted. The redhead just stretches, not giving a damn about the why. There's only one thing that counts. They dared to draw steel on him. With a savage arc, Khan's blade drinks blood. The would-be assassins are paralyzed with fear. Before they can even blink, Khan blitzes through them with god-tier swordsmanship. Then a literal wall of insects erupts from Doyle. This is bug taming, the art of controlling low-level swarms. These mindless, bloodthirsty bugs blanket the enemies, tearing into their flesh and eating them alive. It's a literal living nightmare. As their screams pierce the night, Doyle is stunned to see Yeonwoo just aura farming. Just lounging there like a king, our guy treats his attackers like absolute circus acts. Messing with the coldest monster in the room was their final mistake. Enter Fran and his crew. These guys were Block E's most notorious vultures, specializing in stripping players of their gear. They used token hunting as a front to loot high-tier artifacts, building a deadly arsenal in secret. With power surging, they turned to human trafficking, selling off subjugated players to higher powers. Whether as laborers or lab rats, these killers always found a buyer in the dark market. It is the ultimate hustle, and now they have locked eyes on Yeonwoo, sensing his massive bounty. As he moves with Khan and Doyle, a blade lunges for his head, then he simply vanishes. Reappearing instantly behind his foe, Yeonwoo ends the man's life with one cold surgical strike. The captain drops dead instantly, yet these brainless lackeys still think they can take him. Our masked demon carves through two targets simultaneously before hunting down the next desperate attacker. After that absolute blitzkrieg of violence, the survivors' courage completely evaporates into thin air. They scramble to escape, but our hunter shows zero mercy, reaping 21 souls in minutes. The haul is massive, 81 tokens, all plundered from the broken bodies of previous players. Doyle suspects the majority of their loot was already laundered for quick cash in Section E. Vultures farm tokens easily here, but true elites only care about securing the top 10. Yanwu realizes Section E was always destined to be a blood-soaked playground for the ruthless. The top dogs and vultures systematically stripped the weak of every single token they held. The system forced the weak into survival mode, allowing the strong to effortlessly monopolize everything. Low-tier players were always starving for tokens, so Doyle pushes for an all-out collection spree. No matter how dirty the deed, farming karma is vital for high-level trading later on. He hands the entire stash to Yanwu since they had not finalized any formal payment yet. It is a small bonus on their contract, and Yanwu realizes his partners are not empty-handed either. They have already secured their quota, so extra tokens are not really on their priority list anymore. He stashes the loot, fully aware that Section E is basically a gold mine for farming karma. But there is another objective on his radar, a specific prize he is determined to hunt down. Securing it would skyrocket his mana composition, pushing his physical vessel toward divine ascension. Yanwu's sights are locked. He will bag his prey right after the Lizard King is slaughtered. They press onward until Khan suggests they strip mine every possible resource from this hellscape. Doyle taps into his insect mastery, successfully summoning a swarm of explosive blaze flies. These bugs are literal kamikaze pilots detonating their own tiny lives to incinerate the enemy. Strange, lethal insects exist here that were not even mentioned in the legendary records of Zhongwu. As the sun rises, Yanwu is already shredding lizardmen, a sign their target is finally close. Yanwu begins a gruesome harvest, shocking Khan, as he digs specifically for their glowing eyeballs. He needs them to craft a top-tier artifact, the legendary Gaia Eye, a ring of immense power. Reality hits Doyle hard. Someone else has already beaten them to this forbidden territory. Following the muddy footprints, Yanwu examines the fresh blood, confirming the clash happened recently. 6 hours have passed. A hidden piece loses all worth the second it is discovered by others. Doyle panics, fearing that if another player arrived first, the prize is already long gone. These treasures do not respawn. If the crown of Hargan is snatched, their mission is cooked. Yanwu drops some hope, suspecting that the previous visitors were not actually hunting for the artifact. He points out the erratic trail, noting that a player was clearly dragged away by force. This smells like a lizardman trap using human bait, but Khan cannot grasp their logic. Tutorial monsters are not just mobs for experience, they are apex predators, actively hunting the human players. It is a clear setup, but despite his nerves, Khan refuses to charge in like a desperate amateur. Doyle's face twisted in sheer revulsion. Catching Yanwu's gaze, he instantly flips the script, flashing his best innocent Pookie smile. Keeping it casual, Khan drops some lore on our protagonist, confirming they've finally reached the heart of the Hargan's nest. Little do they know, Yanwu already has the map memorized. He's just playing the clueless newbie to keep his cover intact. The reality is grim. Even with Khan and Doyle teaming up, they wouldn't even be able to scratch the Lizard King's scales. This makes Yanwu weigh the odds. Even with his hidden strength added to the mix, this raid will be a total bloodbath. But the king isn't the only threat. Something far more twisted is coiled in the shadows, a queen whose power is on another level. Khan doesn't sugarcoat it. This mission is a death trap, and the chances of all three walking out alive are near zero. When Yanwu asks for the play, the redhead explains they're going all in on a high-stakes heist for the quest item. The nest is crawling with elite guards. Khan will pull the male king's aggro, acting as the ultimate bait for the team. Yanwu gets the honor of distracting the terrifying queen, while Doyle waits for the perfect window to snatch the crown. Phase 3 is simple: run for your damn life. Because once that queen snaps, she'll erase every single thing in sight. A direct head-to-head means instant death, so evasion is the only option. Luckily, Yanwu is perfectly fine with those terms. His days on the brutal battlefields of Africa have prepared him for this. Back then, he was just a soldier following cold orders. Now he's an elite mercenary with a job to do. With that, the trio steps into the lion's den, heading for the nest. Just for stepping foot inside, they bank 500 karma. But standing in their way are 4 massive lizard sentries. These scaled beasts can actually talk, and they're already triggered by the human intruders. Our Team 7 trio is ready for war. But before they can move, the earth shatters. Out from the dust emerges the true obstacle, the hidden boss, the Hargan King. He's absolutely livid, his voice booming as he curses the pathetic humans for daring to violate his sacred territory. The system logs show 5 kings rule. Section E. Hargan is the undisputed tyrant of the northern marshlands. Their only ticket forward, slaying this behemoth and claiming his crown. The monster lunges, unleashing a bone-chilling roar. The sheer killing intent is suffocating. It's the most terrifying pressure Yanwu has felt since stepping into this tutorial. Our boy flashes back to his military days, and honestly, he's treating these giant monsters like just another day in the jungle. Regardless, Yanwu doesn't flinch. He locks eyes with the beast, meeting its predatory gaze with a cold, terrifying intensity. Hargan singles him out immediately, gripping his weapon tight. He wants the head of the human draped in black. But before the clash begins, Khan blurs into motion. intercepting the king's devastating blow with his own blade. With a flawless stance, he parries the massive scythe as Hargan mocks him, calling the human's efforts pitifully weak. Khan just smirks, telling the king he's leveled up since their last dance. This only invites a fury-fueled strike from the boss. Using the chaos as cover, Doyle slips behind the lines, decapitating the king's guards in a single fluid motion. The enraged king is too hyper-focused on Khan to notice that the other two have already breached his inner sanctum. Deep inside the cavern, more guards fall to Yonwu's twin blades. Suddenly, the silence is broken by a desperate, blood-curdling scream. The scene is a nightmare. Blood and human remains everywhere. These lizards haven't just been killing, they've been farming players. These survivors are the missing players Yonwu predicted would be here now, begging for a rescue that might never come. To the lizards, these players aren't humans. They're just fresh meat waiting to be carved up for the next generation. Saving them would compromise the mission. Yonwu signals Doyle to stay hidden. The queen could emerge at any second. Doyle is visibly shaken. He snaps at Yonwu, disgusted that the man can look at such horror without feeling a shred of pity. Yonwu is a seasoned adult who's seen it all, and while he's still human, he knows how to bury his emotions to survive. To the kid, Yonwu looks like a cold-blooded machine. Sensing the tension, the masked protagonist changes his tone. He explains that choosing sentiment over the mission means Khan dies. The man is currently risking everything against a horde outside. He's holding off the king and his army just for this chance. Every second they waste is a second closer to Khan's death. Yonwu demands the boy keep his head in the game. If they let their feelings cloud their judgment, everyone is doomed. He even threatens to walk away if Doyle's recklessness ruins the plan. Doyle is left spiraling in a sea of guilt and conflict. Then the kid delivers a sharp slap to his own face. That sting brings him back to reality, clearing his clouded vision. In that moment, a chilling realization hits Yonwu. These lizard men haven't just been hunting, they've built a human farm. But if they play their cards right, they can flip this gruesome situation and turn it into a massive advantage. He turns to Doyle with a cold look, asking if he's ready for a sudden change in their original strategy. A minor tweak to his plan could mean the difference between a massacre and a clean sweep for everyone. He signals Doyle to release those lethal blaze flies once more. Deep within the cavern, the queen is brutally disciplining her lackeys. Enraged that mere mortals breached her sanctuary, she frantically orders a status check on her precious clutch of eggs. Suspecting a heist, her focus is shattered by Yonwu, who calmly asks if she's ready for a deadly fireworks show. Before the beast can even process the threat, Yonwu lobs the bag directly at her defenseless offspring. In a panicked reflex, the queen crushes the bag, inadvertently coating the entire nest in highly volatile monster powder. With the stage perfectly set, Yonwu barks the order for Doyle to ignite the flies immediately. As the queen is engulfed in a roaring inferno, she misses Yonwu, snatching one of her hatchlings from the nest. Cold as ice, Yonwu executes the youngling right before its mother's eyes. Her screams of pure agony tear through the cave. Tossing the carcass aside, he grabs another, mocking her for viewing humanity as nothing more than disposable cattle. He sneers at her tears, reminding her that karma bites. Driven by blind fury, she charges to stop the slaughter. She walks right into his trap. The powder beneath her feet erupts into a devastating, soul-shaking explosion. The blast obliterates her instantly. Even a monster of her rank couldn't survive such a relentless, calculated assault. With their sovereign dead, the remaining lizard army crumbles, descending into absolute, uncoordinated chaos. Standing over the carnage, Yonwu coldly reminds us of the world's only law: survive or be slaughtered. He orders Doyle to grab the crown. No time to celebrate, they need to bail Khan out immediately. Just as they're about to move, a bone-chilling roar echoes through the cave. The Lizard King has finally arrived. Seeking his queen, the king is paralyzed by her gruesome end. An exhausted Khan trails closely behind the beast. Driven by a twisted thirst for vengeance, Hargan begins the gruesome task of consuming his fallen mate's remains. This predatory skill triggers a forced evolution. Brace yourselves, Phase 2 is starting, and it's worse than they imagined. Imbued with the queen's essence, Hargan's power level skyrockets. Yonwu realizes they've just entered a world of hurt. He might have been weaker than Tarragon before, but his signature heatwave skill is now a literal death sentence. One hit from that blast will turn a player into ash. Realizing the stakes, Yonwu knows he must act now. As Doyle's messenger bug relays the situation, our masked protagonist is already cooking up a high-stakes gamble. His plan centers on Khan. Meanwhile, the frenzied boss is on a rampage, desperate to obliterate the humans responsible. Yonwu steps into the light, taunting the monster and drawing its lethal focus entirely onto himself. Timing it to the millisecond, Yonwu activates Draconic Eyes, exposing every fatal flaw in the beast's defenses. In an impossible feat of strength, his blade parries the king's massive weapon, locking them in a deadly stalemate. Shaken, Hargan recoils, giving Yonwu the opening he needs. On his command, Khan strikes like a lightning bolt. A brutal slash rips through the king's gut. Before he can recover, Doyle's blaze flies swarm him in a scorching whirlwind. Yunwu realizes that together their combined might could finally dent the monster's massive mana reserves. This boss is operating on pure spite, refusing to fall. But Yunwu stays ice-cold, unfazed by the creature's fury. Anticipating the devastating heat wave, he lunges forward, striking before the monster can even charge its deadly skill. Khan rains down heavy blows while Doyle's flies keep the pressure high. The battle becomes a calculated dance of death. Hargan is gasping for air, his stamina fading. Yet, his obsession with revenge keeps his broken body moving. Seeing the opening, Yunwu bolts beneath the beast, cleanly severing both its feet in a single fluid motion. The king collapses, his mobility gone. Now, at his mercy, Yunwu moves in to finish the job. He drives his vampiric dagger home, siphoning the very life essence from the beast, until it's nothing but a husk. The sheer power intake shatters Yunwu's mask, terrifying his allies. Even now, the king's soul stubbornly clings to life. With his final breath, the monster attempts one last suicidal strike, his final thoughts consumed by his lost family. His final plea for vengeance goes unanswered, as Hargan finally expires. The twin terrors of the cave are officially silenced. The system chimes in, confirming that the king's signature ability has been successfully absorbed into his blade. Heatwave is his, but due to low proficiency, it's downgraded into a more manageable, albeit weaker variant. Now dubbed Flame Infusion, it's a massive upgrade in Yunwu's eyes. He can't wait to unleash its true potential. Suddenly, exhaustion hits him like a freight train. His friends rush to his side, insisting their leader finally takes a breather. To stop his injuries from worsening, he claims he's fine. His teammates are totally fed up with his stubborn main character energy. His only priority is verifying the captive's survival. Without wasting a heartbeat, the group doubles back to secure the prisoners, who offer deep gratitude for slaughtering the lizards and avenging their fallen brothers. Khan and Doyle just play it cool, claiming they simply did what was necessary. Then a prisoner recognizes them. Is he the legendary Bloodsword and his partner Foxy Tail? Khan clearly hoped to stay low-key, but this duo is basically high-tier celebrity status in the player world. Swordmaster steps up, clarifying he wasn't the only warrior who wiped out those reptilian monsters. Honestly, the real MVP was that masked player, the Shadow, who carried the mission. Strangely, they were oddly impressed, mesmerized by the sheer coldness radiating from his soul. Earlier, they'd trash-talked him for abandoning the prisoners, completely disregarding Doyle's urge to save them. Mocking Yunwu for being a mere human triggered Khan's fury, knowing damn well Yunwu was the MVP. Without him, they'd be toast. The blood-red swordmaster roared that the past didn't mean squat. Yunwu risked his own life to save their sorry hides. These ungrateful scrubs are only breathing right now, thanks to his hidden mercy. But instead of showing some respect, they're spewing venom. They call him a monster. Khan's verbal beatdown delivers a reality check, forcing a pathetic apology. Khan demands the apology go to the masked warrior, but Yunwu's mind is elsewhere. He's fixated on the brutal hierarchy. In this world, the weak exist solely to serve the strong. Nothing's changed. That player's apology, pure cap. Deep down, he's still seething with rage. He only folded because his team left him hanging. But later that night, they actually apologized to their boss for ditching him earlier. But the leader is still seeing red. Then a dark plan emerges. They're desperate for tokens, and our trio is absolutely loaded. Catching Doyle and Khan off guard would be a cinch. They're framing this betrayal as pure survival. One guy hesitates to catch a body, convinced they don't stand a chance in a real fight. Fact is, without gear, they won't last until dawn. They're sitting ducks in this hellscape. So the plan is set: rob the trio and ghost. Getting caught is game over. But staying broke is suicide. The boss caves, finally listening to the subordinates' twisted scheme. One ally has the quick hand skill, the perfect tool for a clean getaway. The heist is on. Back to our main crew. The deal is closing, and Doyle and Khan have secured the crown. Khan even throws some praise Yunwu's way. But our masked protagonist, he's strictly business, no social vibes allowed. Despite Khan's chaotic energy, Yunwu can't bring himself to hate the guy. Now, let's look at that loot. He claims the blue-scale scimitar from the loot pile. But there's a catch. The scimitar doesn't fit his dagger-centric playstyle. He knows better weapons are waiting in the tower. But then he finds it Karshina's dagger, a weapon that feeds off the wielder's mental fortitude. It's battered but perfect for the tutorial. Yet Yunwu still feels like something's missing. He's visibly underwhelmed, leaving Doyle staring at him like he's some kind of enigma. Look up. A blue vortex is swirling on the ceiling. A voice gasps in shock it's been found. Out steps a cloaked merchant. Doyle and Khan are clueless, but Yunwu, he knows exactly who this is. Finding this guy is a miracle. They'd all encountered him earlier, blowing their precious points on his gear. There are only two ways to befriend a merchant: reach the top 10, or earn their rare respect. Or force them to acknowledge your greatness. Clearly, Yunwu has already done the latter. After some cold banter, Yunwu cuts to the chase. He's trading both of his major rewards for a flat 150 tokens. But before the merchant can blink, the price jumps to 200. Every time the trader opens his mouth, the price climbs, landing at a whopping 300 alt. If he refuses, Yanwu will just pulverize the nest and every magic stone in it. The merchant tries to play it cool. He acts like these stones are trash, but Yanwu knows their purity is actually insane. And that, my friends, is why the boss drop was so mid. The lair itself was the real treasure, loaded with premium-grade magic stones, essential for mana storage. With 70% purity, these things are worth a literal fortune. That's exactly why this trader is lurking. Yanwu senses weakness and jacks the price to 400. He knows he holds all the cards. Finally, the merchant's cool facade completely shatters. He folds, but Yanwu adds a disrespect tax. Now it's 405 tokens. This man's a savage at business, securing a massive bag. Now Yanwu has nearly 700 tokens. The defeated merchant retreats in tears. But wait, the masked player has one last question. Our guy's actually looking to spend. Since his mask is shattered, he's desperate for a legendary replacement. The trader demands 4 strength points, but Yanwu literally flips the script, hilariously rewriting their entire agreement. He forces the mask into the bargain, threatening to walk away. The trader is absolutely seething with rage. Luckily, he's got something that matches Yanwu's dark aesthetic. Behold, the legendary face of the white ghost. It grants self-healing, but packs a cursed catch it won't come off. The trader immediately hauls tail. He sprints for his portal, but wonders if Yanwu knows what terrifying conditions await on the other side. Those cryptic words haunt our hero, but the merchant vanishes into the abyss without explaining a single thing. Elite gear requires god-tier stones. The fact that the trader shelled out triple the usual price is insane. It means magic stone demand is hitting the ceiling. There's really only one logical conclusion for this spike. War is coming. A brutal power struggle is erupting between the top clans and high-ranking rankers. Khan questions Yanwu's next move, wondering if he's block F bound. Our boy's rank just hit 52. But the gap between him and rank 1 is still a canyon. Luckily, he's got a secret weapon. His real target was always another hidden boss in Section E. Yanwu finally spills the tea on his plan. Block F can wait, he's got personal business to settle first. And speaking of unfinished business, Doyle is vibing with the masked player's synergy and skills. He officially drops a formal invite to the party. Doyle wants to keep the squad together post-tutorial. He's convinced they're an absolutely cracked duo. Their chemistry is peak, and Doyle's hype is real. However, our boy just offers a polite cold rejection. Declining the offer, Yanwu stays mysterious. He's got solo business to handle. Doyle, however, isn't giving up. He says Yanwu can always link up later. Sadly, our masked hero has zero interest in joining any squad. He's strictly on that solo grind. Those blunt words sting Doyle, forcing Khan to comfort his disappointed friend. You can't force someone into a party. Luckily, Yanwu's sticking with them until they finally escape this swamp. This swamp is straight up massive. It's going to take forever for any player to find the exit. With lizardmen crawling everywhere, our hero helps Khan and Doyle carve a bloody path through the horde. They need to shield the survivors. Since they're surrounded, sticking close is the only way to stay alive. Yanwu's skeptical about these survivors. The duo's only plan is to secure them, but he's not feeling it. Yanwu thinks dragging these losers along is pointless. Khan trolls him for being a cold-hearted machine. He knows the truth. Kindness is a luxury no one can afford in this brutal tutorial. His friends look tough, but they're actually massive softies who care way too much about everyone's feelings. That naive kindness might just get them killed. Meanwhile, Doyle shares precious rations with a pathetic survivor. In reality, these survivors are just leeches waiting to exploit them. It's useless to even speak up. Yanwu knows he'll be ignored, so he prioritizes his own life for now. A short while later, a parasite among them snatches food from a lackey. He's stunned that these heroes are actually this naive. They're such easy marks, allowing him to quietly rob them blind. But simple theft isn't enough for him. This dude's greed is spiraling. After all, Khan and Doyle are legendary high-ranking players with fat loot. Plus, that masked kid dropped the Lizard King. This creep wants to steal his way to rank 1. Naturally, the only threat is the masked warrior. He's stalking him from the shadows, but something is off. It feels like the player is staring right back. It's as if he already smells this cockroach's filthy plan. The survivors beg for supplies, again feigning illness. This guy actually has the nerve to throw a tantrum. He whines about being useless monster bait. Khan is finally losing his patience with this toxic behavior. He figures it's best to dump some tokens on these idiots and ditch them. But right then, the leader approaches complaining about exhaustion and demanding rest. This is the perfect opportunity for a trap. This cockroach has 24 players lying in wait. They're planning to jump the trio and end them. He's already grinning, acting like he's won the lottery and secured total victory. Yanwu approaches with a murderous gaze. He looks at the man with pure disgust, knowing exactly what's happening. He strikes, decapitating the man instantly. His friends are horrified, but Yanwu isn't wasting time on explanations. He immediately pivots to slaughter the remaining players lurking in the shadows, seizing the ultimate initiative. He begins tearing them apart, his sharpened senses, having sniffed out their trap from the very start. Between that greedy snake and the suspicious behavior of the survivors, something was clearly rotten. While they schemed in the dark, Yunwoo refined his focus and pinpointed the nearby scavenger rats. With the puzzle solved, he lunges to take the lead, only for Khan to block his path. Our boy roasts him for being hopelessly naive, telling him to sit down and watch a professional work. The truth hits like a truck when dozens of players suddenly emerge, surrounding them on all sides. Gripping their weapons, these ruthless hunters have already butchered anyone who wasn't in on their sick game. Every exit is blocked by enemies, leaving Khan trapped in a nightmare he didn't see coming. He's reeling from the shock, but these aren't just your run-of-the-mill scavengers looking for scraps. These are monsters in human skin, who trade lives for safety, securing their existence through pure betrayal. They lure victims into traps with fake injuries, only to toss them like bait into the monster's jaws. It's all a hustle for tokens. The original players are long dead, replaced by these deceptive actors. Having finally cornered the famous duo, the scavengers believe they've finally hit the ultimate jackpot. They're salivating over Khan's dragon saber, ready to kill just to claim the legendary weapon. While Noin eyes the prize, Zwei, the only semi-rational one, attempts to keep the group's greed in check. He demands an equal split, but the lack of reports from the front lines starts raising red flags. Zwei barks orders to contact the team, but to his horror, there's only silence on the comms. That's because they're already cold. 1 minute they were talking smack, the next absolute silence. Only one conclusion remains: an apex predator has struck, sending Zwei into a panicked frenzy. He demands to know who dares challenge a rank 15 player while frantically scanning the shadows. The nightmare becomes real when he finds his friends transformed into a pile of bloodied corpses. A dying warning about the ghost is the last thing he hears before our electric Batman descends. Real ones know the vibe. Zwei is about to catch the most brutal hands in the entire tutorial. Back at the main event, Khan and Doyle are still holding the line against the scavenger swarm. Suddenly, a blade flashes through the crowd. Yunwoo has officially re-entered the chat. This man really soloed the entire backline and circled back just to flex on the enemies. He goes full demon mode on the traitors, while Doyle provides backup with his swarm of insects. Khan swings his iron staff like a god of war, ignoring the pathetic pleas of the cowards. They try to play innocent now, but Khan judges them no differently than the Lizard King filth. These traitors feasted on their own kind, proving they lost their humanity a long time ago. Khan doesn't hesitate to deliver divine justice, impaling those who sold human lives to the beasts. Remember, Khan is the son of a legendary ranker. He's done playing the nice guy. He forged his own name through blood, so your fake tears won't move him an inch. Yunwoo watches silently as his friends grapple with the dark reality of this twisted world. They came to be heroes, but found only a graveyard of lies and dead slaves. Yunwoo's seen this horror before in his past, but for these two, the trauma is fresh. This bitter experience will force them to grow cold and trust no one in this tower. Knowing words won't help, our boy simply stands guard while they process the carnage. Khan is shaken by Yunwoo's icy composure, baffled by how he can remain so unmoved. It makes them wonder what kind of hellscape he survived to become this detached. Unable to handle the weight of the silence, Khan finally breaks down, needing to talk it out. He's disgusted by the fake victims, but it's Yunwoo's calculated skepticism that truly haunts him. The fact that he predicted this betrayal from the jump means he lives in a different world. To Khan, it looks like Yunwoo trusts nobody, not even the allies standing right beside him. But in this tower, trust is a death sentence, and Yunwoo learned that lesson from his brother. He felt their burning resentment. Both warriors bared their souls only to be cast aside like worthless trash. Khan wears a smirk while Doyle offers warmth. They're noble souls, yet their ideals clash with his cold reality. Recognizing the rift between them, Yunwoo severs their ties. He turns to depart, but instead of blocking his path, Khan lets him walk away. Doyle, however, remains stubborn, reminding everyone of the kindness the masked player once showed. He earned respect, not malice. Khan's blood is boiling with pure, unadulterated rage. His expression radiates visceral loathing not for Yunwoo but the circumstances. He witnessed a truth Doyle remains blind to. Khan rationalizes this choice as the only logical path. Their gazes lock onto the tasseled blade, the sigil of the Orang. It's bizarre for a faction like Orang to obsess over small fry, especially since the elite Azure Sword Guild pulls their strings. As the tower's reigning titan, the guild has legions of elites vying for entry. They have zero need for fresh recruits. What baffles the players is the Azure Sword Guild's sudden decision to rig the tutorial for their own gain. Fear silenced any opposition, leaving the guild's true agenda shrouded in mystery. But one question haunts the shadows. Did they infiltrate this zone just to herd the scavengers with lethal efficiency? Orang was forged to exterminate scavengers, yet it seems they're actually hunting for new blood to employ instead. This sinister recruitment drive is why Khan allowed his comrade to escape. Staying close meant certain death. Doyle senses the unspoken warning immediately. However, Khan's focus has shifted. He's ready for a deadly confrontation with Build. Their first objective, Big Reed. This legendary hidden piece only unlocks for those possessing Hargan's crown. With this blade toppling, Adora Infante becomes trivial. Dominating the tutorial rankings has always been the endgame. Even the gentle Doyle craves the satisfaction of watching those arrogant siblings' faces crumble as they're surpassed. Yanwu drifts away, fully aware these fools are chasing the same treasure. He tolerates their dramatic parting for now. His priority lies in the east. Time is a luxury he does not have, regardless of their petty schemes. A fleeting thought crosses his mind. Would he have stayed if they'd asked? Shaking it off, he pushes eastward. We shift to Build, who just received word of Squad 2's total annihilation. They had one job, and they failed. Disgusted by their incompetence, Build deploys the heavy hitters, Squad 1. These are Orang's true elites, handpicked and lethally conditioned by the guild itself. Build is hungry for results. Their mission is simple: eliminate the blood sword Foxy Tail and that mysterious masked player. Crushing Squad 2 was no fluke. These targets are monsters. The pressure mounts, forcing Build to prepare for action. He ponders the suspicious timing of these events. Could a secret power be pulling the trio's strings? Fearing hidden influencers, Build decides to silence them swiftly and silently before the truth leaks out. With Team Ardia missing, the drums of war are beating. Conflict is inevitable. Orang must conserve its power for the real fight. But suddenly, an explosion rocks the base, an invasion. Confusion grips Build as the unthinkable happens. Khan and Doyle have arrived right at his front door. The barrier shatters in a violent blast, revealing the high-ranking monsters ready for blood. Khan's eyes burn with vengeance as his roar echoes through the halls. The Orang weaklings tremble in pure terror. Build smirks delighted, his prey delivered themselves to the slaughter. He's eager to test his mettle. He faces the Iron Lion's heir. Steel shrieks against steel in a violent stalemate. Elsewhere, the Orc domain looms. Tucked within the crags, the beasts are butchered like livestock. Yanwu carves through them with cold precision. Pressing steel to a throat, he demands the hunter's location. The terrified creature points toward the unreachable beetle top. That peak is off limits to mortals. But this hermit is the key, the only one who knows the Accasha snake's lair. The beast only appears under specific mystical conditions. To find it, Yanwu absolutely requires the hunter's expertise. He hunts for the exact coordinates. Legend says the Accasha snake only surfaces to breathe and feast. In a past life, Zhongwu nearly perished to the serpent. He was saved by this very same hunter. Alongside Team Ardia, he survived. That savior became Zhongwu's first mentor, the legendary Galliard. Yanwu reaches the shack and knocks. Suddenly, a presence looms behind him. This was no ordinary man. He's a dark elf, a race born for the battlefield. Yanwu offers a polite greeting to the lethal warrior. The elf is visibly irritated by the intrusion. Unfazed, the masked player simply states his business, a transaction. Mentioning the Undine's cup puts Galliad on edge, and he demands to know how Yanwu learned of it. Yanwu spins a lie, name-dropping Galliad's old friend Bram. Hooked by the bluff, the elf invites him inside. Pausing his hunt, the elf discusses the trade. This cup isn't a toy, it's a vessel of pure Accasha energy. It's the ultimate bait for the snake, but there's a catch. Galliad is the only one who can manifest it. A hidden quest triggers. This is Galliad's trial. Many have tried, but all have failed against the elf. His game of choice, a high-stakes hide-and-seek, where Yanwu must tag him 5 times out of 10. Success means claiming the Undine's cup and an exclusive secret reward that most players can only dream of. Over decades, only 5 legends have passed. But for those who succeed, the rewards are absolutely game-changing. You inherit the Dark Elf's personal abilities, including the rare Fleetfoot skill unique to his bloodline. This ancestral skill makes the body weightless and lightning fast, the perfect buff for our protagonist's lethal playstyle. Speed is just the start. This skill is the secret key to unlocking one of the world's most broken abilities. We're talking about distance pairing, the #1 ranker's trademark. The mission: find Galliad and tag him. Each round lasts 15 minutes. To keep it fair, the elf nerfs himself using 0 combat skills, only movement. The trial begins. With a confident smirk, the dark elf literally dissolves into the howling mountain wind. The speed is insane, but Yanwu's draconic eyes and sensory buffs allow him to peer through the invisible veil. He tracks the mana ripples through the air. Pinpointing the target, the masked warrior hurls his weapon with precision. Galliad is forced out of the shadows, stunned that he was found. But Fleetfoot has a hidden weakness. Every movement creates distinct energy waves. To Yanwu's enhanced vision, those ripples are as obvious as a lighthouse. He tracks the trail toward a withered tree. Yanwu's blade whistles past the elf, but that was a feint. Yanwu suddenly teleports behind him. The agile elf barely dodges, but before he can retreat into the wind, Yanwu snatches his sleeve, securing the first point. Round 1 ends with our boy proving he's no ordinary player. The game continues until Yanwu tags him 7 times, crushing the requirement and leaving the elf totally speechless. For his bonus reward, the elf grants him 1 wish. Galliard is desperate to know Yanwu's tracking secret, but Yanwu keeps his cards close, maintaining his mystery. They head indoors to claim the hard-earned loot. The dark elf casually tosses a bag to him. Yanwu stands there completely floored by the man's carelessness. He can't believe such a legendary artifact was left lying around. Inside sits the radiant A-rank Undine's cup. Brimming with Accasha essence, the elf warns him, one slip-up with this artifact could trigger a total catastrophe. Yanwu already knows. Accasha isn't a physical substance. It's an unstable energy that defies the laws of matter. Even a tiny leak would cause a massive explosion. Next, the rewards get even better for our protagonist. He receives the C-rank Fleetfoot skillbook. Upon learning it, his body feels weightless, surging with new power. His reflexes are now superhuman, and his senses razor-sharp. With the vessel ready, he needs one last thing. Yanwu plans to max his mana stats by hunting the Great Snake. Galliard is stunned by the player's brilliance. The elf remarks on how terrifying this new generation is. Losing to Yanwu like that was a huge shock. But Yanwu wasn't the first. Apparently 2 siblings arrived long ago and cleared the trial with ease. They took the cup and the skill. Yanwu's blood runs cold. He knows exactly who those 2 legends are. They're the top 2 rankers from the tutorial. Galliard is curious. Why does an assassin need alchemist tools? Yanwu drops a total bombshell on the elf he's going after, the legendary and terrifying Accasha snake. But luck isn't on his side. The beast is already dead, slaughtered by those same siblings, Adora and Fant. They actually did it. Yanwu reaches the battlefield where the lingering scent of blood confirms the absolute carnage. Something feels off. No one outside of Team Ardia should have known about this hidden boss location. The blood is a week old, but then Yanwu spots a detail that makes his heart skip a beat. They only took the rarest materials. But the real kicker is the sheer power displayed in the kill. How did just 2 people annihilate a boss that usually wipes out entire raids of elite players? Are the top rankers truly that broken, or is there a darker mystery behind their overwhelming strength? Yanwu rips off his mask in pure frustration. His plans are ruined, and he's hit a total dead end. To fuel his cold-blooded vengeance, seizing the top spot is mandatory, but time is bleeding out fast. Scrapping by with meager resources, even hitting rank 8 seems like a fever dream, let alone the throne. The path to succession grinds to a halt as his strategy hits a wall. Yanwu's gaze lingers on the serpent's carcass. Traces around the skull reveal a chilling truth. A devastating blow from an outsider shattered this beast. Someone was hunting for its brain. These footprints scream that more predators have joined the chase. Suspecting more than just brotherly betrayal, Yanwu smells the stench of orcs and prepares to dive deeper. Enter Bane, the tutorial's 6th-ranked powerhouse. Build has summoned the elites for a high-stakes operation, but Bane is over the grind. Protecting his rank is exhausting, and hunting low-tier players feels beneath him. Being stuck outside the top 5 hurts his pride. However, news of Build's death threats leaves him shook. For anyone defying his will, these are absolute commands that cannot be ignored. To sweeten the deal, Squad 1 offers a massive bounty. Delivering the masked player's head grants a king's ransom of tokens. Dumping thousands of tokens for one man's life is absolute madness, signaling a total power shift. This move could flip the leaderboard overnight. Bane soon learns the masked ghost soloed the entire 2nd squad. One man, a mountain of tokens. Greed ignites in Bane's eyes as he dreams of plundering the 2nd company's riches. Cracking the top 5 is finally within reach. With a predatory grin, he signs up to hunt our main character. Meanwhile, Yanwu is moving like a shadow, using Fleetfoot to scout uncharted territory he never knew existed. Stumbling into the Accasha snake's inner sanctum, a system alert flashes, hinting at a game-changing discovery. This hidden den might house the serpent's eggs. Clearly those orcs dragged the brain here for a dark purpose. Searching for clues, he suddenly locks eyes with a full orc platoon amidst a grisly scene. They're deep in a twisted ritual. The snake's brain sits at the center, served up as a bloody sacrifice. The king of orcs intends to revive a god slain by humanity. The sheer insanity of it leaves Yanwu stunned. Shockingly, as flames lick the brain, the tissue pulses with unnatural life twitching in the heat. A fresh serpent erupts from the remains. This spiritual beast can cycle through life and death infinitely. The orcs have successfully birthed a younger, deadlier version. A literal monster reset in front of his eyes. The system demands Yanwu slay it before it evolves. Rebirth. Even our protagonist is caught off guard by this. But wait, this is better than the original plan. If the snake matures, the rewards will be legendary. A bigger body means fully charged inner orbs. And the secret ingredient for this evolution, pure Accasha. Like the legendary vampiric dagger of Bathory, it drinks power. Yanwu decides to turn the hunger up to 11. This newborn predator is starving. Yanwu scans the horizon, calculating where to find a buffet of energy. Even the Undine's cup is a drop in the bucket for this beast. Time for a more aggressive strategy. He needs bigger offerings. Meanwhile, Kiarak, the Lizardman chief, is desperately trying to hide a devastating secret. Fearing an orc invasion, he keeps their king's death quiet. But Kiarak's anxiety is cut short instantly. Yanwu sends him to the afterlife. He then drops an orc assassin's body nearby, framing a mutual kill. Igniting his fire infusion, Yanwu torches the tent. Despite his low skill level, the dry fabric erupts instantly. He slips away as chaos reigns, leaving the lizardmen to blame the orcs. Should he stir the pot even more? He eyes the western jungle. That small spark he ignited soon grows into an all-consuming inferno. The flames devour the kobold village whole. The jungle is being eaten alive by a sea of fire. Tribes are torn apart. Forced to flee, the kobolds crash into other monster territories, sparking a bloody migration. To escape the heat, monsters are invading every border. Every single territory is now a war zone. Wildfires and panic spread like a virus. This domino effect forces the rival clan chiefs to convene. Among them sits the Goblin King Cranum. He's just received word that his lower tribes have been wiped out. The orcs' sudden aggression is a mystery, but goblins always pay back their grudges with heavy interest. A scout reports the kobolds' desperate position. It seems every tribe is ready to unite for blood. Targeting the orcs, the Goblin King greenlights a massive alliance to discuss the total extinction of the entire orc race. As the clock ticked, a dark summit formed between goblins and kobolds. Even massive ogres and trolls joined the fray, forging a lethal alliance. The Goblin King dropped a bombshell. The lizardmen were already tearing into orc territory. Cranum hungers for absolute rule, craving the orc king's head as his ultimate trophy. The monstrous legions erupt in a bloodthirsty roar. With a vow to purge the orcs forever, he ignited the spark that transformed rivalry into a total bloodbath. A sudden alert pings Quest Monster Rush. The ancient taboo against invading enemy territory has just been shattered. Chaos reigns, and only the player can stop the carnage. The stakes, the Monster Hunter title, Cranium's Eye, and a rare 5-color jewel. This is exactly what Yanwu planned orchestrating the Accasha snake's evolution. He gazes at the chaos, wondering if this slaughter will forge the most terrifying Accasha snake in tutorial history. With the pieces in place, the hunt begins. Now he just needs to wait for the perfect opening. Meanwhile, Bane and his Squad 1 comrades arrive. Their teamwork is a total mess, barking and snapping at each other like rabid dogs the moment they hit the ground. Crassus is itching to throw hands with Bane, but Dyke, the squad's veteran, shuts down the drama before it explodes. Time is bleeding away. Their sole mission: hunt down the masked player and eliminate him without mercy. Dyke's ears twitch. He hears it first. A rhythmic thumping that sounds like a Titan march. Wait, wrong anime. Jokes aside, the earth begins to tremble violently until a literal tidal wave of monsters comes into view. Pure mayhem erupts. Paralyzed by shock, Squad 1 can only watch in horror before scrambling for a desperate retreat. The stampede closes in, pulverizing several members instantly. But Bane isn't going down without a fight. His ambition to become Blue Flower Island's ultimate weapon keeps him standing, but he gets caught up in his own hype. A goblin's axe whistles through the air from his blind spot. Game over, man. His legend dies before it even starts. The blade hits home as the monster tide rolls over his corpse. Over in orc territory, scouts report the approaching storm. King Perak never saw this surprise invasion coming. Realizing he's being targeted for a massacre, Perak's rage boils over. How dare these pests disturb the divine ritual? But wait, he sees an opportunity to offer these intruders as a feast for his god. This disaster just became a buffet. Perak turns to his subordinate with a sinister grin. Tell the shaman the sacrifices have arrived. The orcs form a desperate phalanx to hold back the goblin swarm. Then a massive ogre slams a boulder through their lines, shattering the defense. Perak stands ready, thirsting for blood. Locking eyes with the furious Goblin King, Perak lunges forward. It's a boss-level duel to the death. Meanwhile, Yunwu's fleet foot skill levels up like crazy as he slips back into the snake's lair. He knows. The kings are already clashing. Cranum and Perak are monsters on par with the Lizard King himself. With powers so balanced, this war will be a long, bloody grind, fueling the monster's primal frenzy. This is why the Accasha snake needs a new hunting ground. Currently, it's literally devouring its own kin in hunger. It shreds through orcs, spitting acid and lunging for more. The beast is absolutely intoxicated by the scent of gore. Its hunger is bottomless. Yunwu calculates, can he provide enough blood to keep this monster under control? Avoiding its wrath, he watches as the Titan burrows into the depths, surging southwest toward the front lines. That's where the real slaughter is happening. It's the ultimate all-you-can-eat buffet for the snake. This hidden piece is no joke. This snake's power level is way beyond anything a tutorial should ever have. Yunwu senses a deeper secret behind its presence, something even the legendary Galliard couldn't figure out after years of hunting. Whatever the truth is, it's bound to be world-shaking. Searching for the creature's inner sanctum, he stumbles into a cavern bristling with frozen crystals and sharp icicles. Nestled there is a snow ginseng, a humanoid plant that looks like a literal kid. It's a legendary, ultra-rare find. This little guy is the key to the ultimate elixir. Yunwu starts putting the pieces together. Was the snake guarding this place to let the ginseng mature? Judging by its size, Yunwu estimates. This thing has been growing for at least 3 centuries. Its potency is nearly at its peak. It hits max power at 500 years, and the snake was playing the long game. Too bad for the beast. Because Yunwu is swooping in for the steal, the ginseng snaps awake and bolts, but escape isn't that easy. The cave is a dead end. Daggers whistle past the little creature as it tries to scramble deeper into the dark, let out a primal roar. This is a first for Yunwu hunting a beast of this caliber. Even the humanoid stands there utterly baffled. Suddenly, the overhead ice spikes tremble before plunging down. Turns out the ceiling was our boy's true target all along. The falling terrain traps the humanoid, forcing it right toward him. Yunwu reaches out with lethal intent. He slams his palm onto its head, locking the creature in a vice grip. It thrashes wildly, but the struggle is futile. It is checkmate as the beast reverts to its true form. Bro ditches the mask and starts inhaling the ginseng. A violent surge of energy erupts within him. He is basically chugging liquid mana now, watching his stats skyrocket by the second. His succession rate climbs as Ascension hits 43%. His body is literally evolving into a half-dragon state. Yunwu triggers the mana circuit. It is a wild beast to tame, but the raw power is unmistakable. Once he masters this flow, he will wield terrifying amounts of mana with surgical precision. Soon he will be bending the mana stream to his will. Finally, the plan is coming together perfectly. Switching gears, let us check the wreckage of Squad 1. Surprisingly, the insect Bane crawled out of that carnage alive. The rest were crushed like flies. Bane is mangled, but he knows that masked player is hiding an ace up his sleeve. There is a secret reward nobody has found yet. Whatever it is, he is camping out, waiting for our boy to show up. His goal, ambush Yunwu and snatch the loot. Then he can finally close the gap with those top-tier siblings. Bane lies in wait, eyes peeled for the player. Little did he know, Yunwu's instincts about needing more power were spot on. He desperately needed more magical juice to refine his control. Before this, magic was just something tied to his skills. Now the possibilities are endless, starting with imbuing his weapons with pure magic to amplify their destructive force. Controlling that flow is a nightmare with low mastery, but sensory enhancement will be his ultimate teacher. It is all about sharpening those instincts. Suddenly, our boy spots a faint glint on the floor. It is a low-tier necklace packed with memories. Opening it reveals a portrait of Galliard's lost family. The whole reason he hunted the snake was to find this sentimental relic tied to his own bloodline. Dark elves are rarely this selfless. Jungwoo's time diary never mentioned anything about the elf's family history. He pockets the prize and masks up, ready to kick off the next stage of the operation outside. Outside, it is absolute carnage. The orcs are clashing with a massive monster tide as 2 kings go all out. Then the ground ruptures as a titanic snake surfaces. The goblins have never seen a monster this massive. It is a straight-up behemoth. The orcs are reeling, realizing their literal god has just joined the fray. The sight of that horrific black serpent paralyzes everyone. Without warning, the massive beast begins its feast. It starts swallowing entire battalions. With their first king gone, the trolls are out for blood and revenge. But the orc god spits lethal acid, melting anyone trying to run. Cronum chooses cowardice and deserts the battlefield. He would rather avoid Ferrek than die for pride. For him, family safety trumps honor every single time. The orc king tries to settle his god down, but the Accasha snake is in a full-blown murderous trance. Any hope for peace dies when the goblin king makes the brain-dead move of flanking the snake from behind. He lands a heavy blow on its skull, drawing first blood. Even the orcs flip the script and attack. Watching the chaos unfold, Yunwu is floored by the carnage. Only 10% of the initial horde remain standing. Most were slaughtered, fueling the snake's growth. Both kings are now battered and clinging to life. Their armies are spent. Yunwu recognizes this as the perfect moment to drop the curtain. Revving his mana circulation, he blurs into motion with fleet foot, charging straight into the heat. He drops onto the snake's head with a devastating strike. Then he unleashes his vampiric dagger's true power. He is literally draining the life force from the beast. It is an absolute XP farm as his strength stats explode. The Accasha snake finally breathes its last. With that, the Resurrection Ceremony quest is officially cleared. Including the Monster Rush bonus, the system drops a massive 8,000 karma points into his lap. Our masked player finishes the job, carving the serpent open to claim the golden core shimmering within. Yunwu stabs the core, using his dagger to siphon every drop of power. His devouring skill is working overtime. His Akashic essence is evolving rapidly. The snake's venom is now part of his DNA, triggering massive internal changes. His body needs time to stabilize. Even with half-dragon durability, absorbing this much raw power is a heavy burden. His body awakening threshold skyrockets, hitting a massive 48%. The system issues a warning, urging him to find cover before beginning his mana cultivation. A single mistake could trigger a backfire, leaving him with permanent, soul-crushing trauma. Both Broken Kings are in survival mode, wondering what nightmare just descended upon them. But our protagonist stands unfazed, his gaze burning with the intensity of an apex predator. He's the hunter now. The Orc King finally realizes the gravity of the situation. This human is the catalyst for the entire collapse. Enraged Perek charges to eliminate the threat. Their doom rests on his shoulders, and Yanwu is more than ready to throw down. He's actually hyped that these guys pack a punch similar to the Lizard King. This means the point payout will be insane. Bro has evolved into a pure killing machine. One brutal swipe sends the Orc King's head spinning through the air. Perek is absolutely cooked. While his rival Cranum stands frozen in shock, the Goblin King attempts a desperate strike. He gets low-diffed and off-screened immediately. The surviving monsters now face a grim choice. It's either fight or flight. Yanwu doesn't even blink at the ones who choose to run. The cowards weren't worth his time, but the idiots who attacked, he erased them without hesitation. He proceeded to harvest their life essence, accelerating his body's evolution to new heights. He's prepared to consume everything in sight just to fuel his path to absolute power. After slaughtering hundreds, exhaustion finally hits. But even as he craves a break, he senses one rat-like player still lurking in the shadows. Yanwu calls him out instantly. Bane steps out looking pathetic, shocked he was spotted. Yanwu mocks him for being so obvious. Terrified Bane calls him a monster. He witnessed the entire bloodbath from the sidelines. He watched the kings and the Accasha snake fall. His greed is truly next level. Bro really thinks he can snatch the loot from our boy. Yanwu just finds it hilarious. He wonders how this clown expects to steal anything when he can barely even stand. The masked player smirks, claiming he brought backup. Suddenly, a warrior strikes from the rear. An arrow pierces the target, ending him instantly. The newcomer is the dark elf Galliard. He arrived after hearing the forest was in total chaos. Yanwu is relieved he showed up. He was honestly too drained for another brawl. This lucky encounter finally offers him some peace. Yanwu hands over the picture locket gift before collapsing directly into Galliard's arms. The elf is totally baffled by this mysterious player, but he gets the unspoken message. Protect him in exchange for the treasure. Meanwhile, the body progression officially succeeds. Yanwu's physique evolves into a gold-plated form, perfectly integrating the serpent's divine essence. This massive power spike pushes his total progress to a staggering 92%. Our boy awakens to a flood of system alerts. Despite the massive essence feast, he still hasn't hit the 100 mark. Dragon blood is just built different. Thankfully, his attributes have skyrocketed, granting him elite mastery over his mana circulation. Testing his energy, Yanwu channels mana, marveling at the sensation of gaining a new limb. Magic is all about application. Now that he's unlocked it, it's time to get creative. He's aiming for high-tier offensive spells. Beyond that, his basic senses have sharpened immensely. His eyes are now hypersensitive. He doesn't even need to trigger skills to see everything. As he adjusts, the elf returns with food and tells the player to take it easy. Galliard had been playing nurse while he was out. He knew Yanwu was pushing his limits. He needed a sanctuary, so he relied on Galliard. However, Yanwu's training was incredibly reckless. He gorged on too much snake core. Without the elf's help, he literally would have exploded. Our masked hero wasn't worried thanks to his reinforced skin, but he's glad Galliard got his necklace. Our protagonist senses a scheme. He suspects the elf manipulated his mana core and internal circulation just to keep him around. Galliard admits it. He utilized the legendary Undine Cup to prevent a total mana explosion, an artifact that cost him blood and sweat to forge. Wasting such a treasure on a single human has the elf feeling salty. In response, Yanwu vows to settle this massive debt. Grumpiness aside, the elf doesn't actually care, as long as our player stays alive and kicking for the time being. Galliard unexpectedly offers his thanks. His golden necklace glows with a new light, proving he's finally found the closure he sought. The forbidden technique used is known as divine water. It's the same mystic essence required to create the Undine Cup itself. Since Yanwu gorged on way too much mana, the cup was vital to expand his body's capacity and prevent a total meltdown. Because of this, Yanwu could absorb massive energy and sharpen his instincts to a god-tier level even while he was unconscious. With the crisis averted, our boy plans to bounce immediately, ignoring Galliard's strict orders to rest for 3 full days. Ghosting the elf's advice, he triggers Fleetfoot. He vanishes in a blur, proving his body is back at 100%. Galliard is stunned. Watching a guy who was just bedridden move that fast is insane, especially since the skill perfectly fits Yanwu's build. On the move, Yanwu funnels raw mana into his heels. His previous movements have now been sharpened into something far more lethal. The craziest part, this overwhelming speed is just the result of his body's progression hitting 92%. He can only imagine the monstrous transformation awaiting him once that final 8% of his evolution is complete. Yanwu hits his target location and cashes in his pending rewards. The hidden quest grants him a mysterious black bracelet. Oddly enough, its name and rank are totally redacted. The perk allows the user to perform necromancy on anyone they've personally slain. It's definitely not a hero skill. The ghosts summoned by this artifact lose every trace of their memories and their souls. Their only remaining purpose is to be processed into a dark mana force, known as the Cursed Spirit. This energy can even be infused into weapons for extra lethality. Basically, we're not just talking about generic solo leveling vibes here. The artifact is ranked as a unique grade item. However, several of its true powers are locked until the player hits specific milestones. With 3 effects currently sealed away, Yanwu knows the bracelet's real game-changing potential is hidden behind those locks. He activates the gear, and instantly a void black mist swirls around him until his eyes bleed into pure obsidian. This form allows him to perceive the departed a vision skill that syncs perfectly with his existing dragon eyes. Now Yanwu sees every phantom clearly, from the monsters he butchered to the ones devoured by the Accasha snake. It's eerie seeing these souls just loitering around. Hilariously, the ghosts recognize their murderer the moment he appears. They try to act tough, but the second our boy draws his steel for a second round, they are absolutely paralyzed with fear. Yanwu strikes, carving through the spectral crowd. He reaps one of the ghosts, instantly siphoning its essence into his own power. He's ready to test the Blade of Darkness. By submerging reaped souls into his weapon, his attack power reaches a whole new level. Every strike now applies a devastating curse. Going full offensive, Yanwu tests his new strength with one massive sweeping swing. He obliterates a massive boulder with a casual flick. The power is terrifying, and the remnants of the stone begin to decompose instantly. Witnessing that corrosive curse in action, he wonders how broken this bracelet will become once it reaches its full potential. Wasting no time, he carves through the phantom mob and harvests 5 more souls in a heartbeat. He condenses the reaped energy and fuses it with his blaze skill, and the result even leaves Yanwu in total shock. The resulting blast looks like a scene from a Michael Bay movie. Once the smoke clears, nothing but scorched ash remains. This kind of firepower would delete a lizard man instantly, and that was an explosion using only 5 reaped ghosts. If that small amount was this destructive, he wonders what kind of god-level carnage he could cause with the entire graveyard. Fast-forwarding a bit, Yanwu farms a total of 150 ghosts. He suspects this might be his current storage limit. Still, that's a massive arsenal for now. Next, he claims his Monster Rush reward, earning the prestigious Monster Hunter title. This title provides a massive stat buff whenever he's actively hunting beasts on the battlefield. He now has a 15% chance to trigger a guaranteed lethal crit. Finally, he secures the Goblin King's Eye. This B-tier relic from Kurun boosts all his base stats by 10% whenever he's fueled by revenge. It even grants him a 6th sense against invisible attacks. Yanwu loves this kit. It's a perfect synergy with his bracelet's dark powers. Stacking spite and curses is the ultimate DPS buff. Lastly, he inspects the 5-color jewel, a gem forged from every monster type here. He's gained a buffet of passive skills: faster sprinting, enhanced hearing, sharper scent, and long-range vision. His entire physique has been reinforced. These buffs are the final piece of the puzzle for his already cracked skill set. Yanwu's haul was legendary. Next, we cut to Galliard, who's stunned to learn the masked warrior's next move. He's heading for Section F. With Section E conquered, the elf can only watch in awe of his progress. This rookie isn't normal. He radiates an aura identical to Zhongwu, making Galliard suspect a blood connection between them. No one climbs the tower without a dark past driving them. Without it, the climb is meaningless. Nobody bets their life on a death game for fun. Before parting ways, the dark elf gifts him a stunning blade. It's Vane's masterwork. This S-tier steel could fetch a fortune, or cut through any foe in Yeonwoo's path. But Yeonwoo's a dagger main, so he chooses profit. Galliard then asks a chilling question. How did he manage to aggro the entire Orang group? Their main stronghold is right where he's heading. They'll be hunting him down. Yeonwoo's actually blindsided. He had no clue about their dark influence. Even the elf is shocked. He points out the sword's tassel, the signature mark of the Orang group's reach. The realization hits hard. He's unintentionally picked a fight with a massive shadow-dwelling powerhouse. Every tragedy he and his brother faced points to a sinister secret the Orang group is desperate to hide. Publicly, they're just scavenger allies. But that's a facade, and it's why things are getting messy. Khan and Doyle launched a frontal assault. They're beasts, but the Orang group is on another level of power. The Azure Sword Guild commands a literal army of top-tier players and terrifying elites. As one of the top 8, they've even clashed with Team Arthea. Their combat prowess is undisputed. If Khan and Doyle won, the tower would be screaming it. Silence means they've likely been crushed. Or worse, executed. Yeonwoo hesitates, questioning if he should even bother risking his neck. Are they really his comrades? Suddenly flashes of their smiles and shared moments flood his cold mind. His icy heart flickers. He remembers his brother's final diary entry, a plea from beyond the grave. Jongwoo begged him to stay kind and not let grief consume his soul. Those words haunt him. Now his path is locked. He recalls the agonizing details of that betrayal. Steel tore through Jongwoo. 3 blades from the so-called kings, 1 from his lover and the last from the man he called his best friend. In this tower, loyalty is just a death sentence. At dusk, Yeonwoo prepares to move. Galliard asks if he's really planning to crash the Orang group's war. As a dark elf, he senses Yeonwoo's bloodlust. The kid is practically vibrating with combat energy. Looking at him, Galliard sees his younger self ruthless, determined, and ready for total annihilation. Yeonwoo's resolve has evolved. In a rare move, the elf offers to join the fray. With Galliard, it would be a massacre. His power rivals the most elite high rankers in existence. He could probably solo the entire guild, but Yeonwoo's response leaves him absolutely stunned. Yeonwoo refuses. This isn't just a rescue op for Khan and Doyle, it's his personal crusade. His objective, cold-blooded vengeance. He's going to dismantle the Azure Sword Guild from the inside out. Outsourcing his revenge would be meaningless. The Masked Slayer will end this war with his own hands. Galliard warns him it'll be hell. But then again, no victory in the tower comes cheap. Wishing him luck, the elf watches him go. Yeonwoo ponders the Azure Guild's bizarre human farms. Why run such inefficient farms? If they just wanted loot, capturing players makes 0 sense. Captives are a liability. So what's the real reason behind this twisted, high-effort operation? Even after Arthia's intervention, a darker conspiracy lingers. Yeonwoo can feel the stench of evil. This secret is buried deep. If he unearths it, he'll have the ultimate leverage against the Azure clan. The 8 great clans all played a role in Jungwoo's fall. Now, they're all on his hit list. They slaughtered Team Arthia, especially the Azure clan whose leader was the ultimate architect of betrayal. It's earlier than planned, but Yeonwoo's crusade for blood starts right here, right now. He's entering his full-blown revenge arc. With only 4 days left in the tutorial, he's locking in. Time is ticking. He has 72 hours to wipe out the Orang group and clear the floor. Day 4 is for the final clear. His plan: total psychological warfare through sudden, brutal ambushes. Once their stamina hits 0, he's going to ghost the entire headquarters, leaving absolutely no survivors behind. Locked in, Yeonwoo vows to erase the syndicate within 24 hours as he reaches Section F. Inside the base, Build and his inner circle debate the mystery of the masked player's sudden disappearance. The captain reels from the Monster Horde report. 70% of their forces were just deleted by the rush. These were the elites, the promising rookies handpicked to lead the future of Blue Flower Island. Even their scavengers were neutralized as every Arat member gets systematically wiped from the tutorial phase. The organization is literally falling apart, and Build's grand network is staring at total extinction. Failure means his bosses will have his head, but with only 3 days left, he's totally cooked. Rebuilding is a pipe dream. Once the tutorial ends, his disastrous leadership will be exposed to everyone. His last Hail Mary, completing a forbidden artifact that will launch him straight to God-tier status. He's only delayed because the current crop of players and monsters are basically low-level trash. Suddenly, it clicks. Build realizes he finally found the ultimate sacrifice for his masterpiece's completion. That masked menace isn't just a target anymore, he's the perfect fuel Build has been craving. Learning Yeonwoo is nearby, the leader commands every soldier to lock down the perimeter immediately. The hunt is on to bag our boy, while Build preps his other assets for the slaughter. He moves to the dungeon to check on the 2 fools who dared to raid his base. Khan and Doyle are in bad shape, yet the redhead keeps talking trash like an absolute legend. But Build isn't there for beef. He's there to announce their new roles as high-grade fuel. They're destined to become ingredients for his stone powered by the souls of captured players. This dark relic shouldn't even exist, and while Build originally planned to break their spirits slowly, the clock is ticking, so he decides to skip the torture and end their lives right now. With a cold wave to his guards, he leaves the cell, as Khan faces the grim reality. He doesn't fear the Reaper, but the thought of Doyle dying because of him is soul-crushing. The kid followed him blindly into this nightmare, and now they're both facing the same fate. Trapped and helpless, Khan can only scoff at his own pathetic inability to save his friend. It's a repeat of his past failures until a massive tremor rocks the entire facility. Build is shook. His fortress is built like a tank, yet it's crumbling under this impact. A panicked subordinate flags an intruder, just as a violent explosion rips through the base. Arat soldiers rush to stop the slaughter, but their comrades are falling like flies to the attacker. Standing in the wreckage is the masked player, his eyes glowing with pure predatory bloodlust. Buffing with Goblin's feet, he blurs through the ranks, skewering the first guard in a flash. King's Eye goes active tracking hidden threats, as he effortlessly dances around incoming steel. Yeonwoo feeds souls into his blade of darkness, unleashing a wave of pure shadowy carnage. Desperate survivors try to bolt, but he conjures a massive Amaterasu Rasengan to block their path. Merging it with a fireball jutsu, he nukes the area, turning the battlefield into a literal furnace. The remaining troops are paralyzed, watching one man solo their entire elite squad with zero effort. With a chilling glare, he prepares to sweep the floor until a thunderous stop echoes out. From the balcony, Build and his top-tier loyalists look down, finally confronting the monster at their gates. The goons cheer for their boss, but Build's focus is solely on the masked warrior below. He's been hunting this rat for ages, and is livid that the pest dared to knock. As Build flexes his aura, a strange sense of déjà vu washes over Yeonwoo. This energy signature is hauntingly familiar, stirring memories he thought were buried deep. Then it hits him like a freight train. He remembers the 5 blades that ended his brother. 3 kings, a twisted lover, and 1 man he once called his brother-in-arms. That man was Leon Jongwoo's best friend, who turned out to be the ultimate traitor. A blade pierced his heart without mercy. Ryan led a pack of hyenas masquerading as his brothers to the slaughter. Among those snakes stood Build, a sadistic trash who lived for the sound of Jongwoo's agonizing screams. That memory triggers pure rage in our protagonist. As the big brother, he's determined to hand-deliver a gift to the afterlife. Lethal aura flares up. Panic-stricken Build orders his right-hand man Gurong to ping the island for backup right now. They needed to report the masked player's location, but in a flash, the dude literally explodes into a bloody mist. His corpse hits the dirt. Having secured the first kill, Yeonwoo begins his psychological warfare, baiting Build to strike. That aura is giving major Ultra Instinct vibes. Coldly, Yeonwoo clowns on Build for attempting a cowardly retreat. Triggered, the commander unsheathes twin blades, finally realizing this masked freak is definitely connected to his past sin. With an explosive burst, the warrior blitzes into Yeonwoo's personal space, arrogantly claiming total dominance. He scoffs at Yeonwoo's weak skills. The duel ignites. Yeonwoo tanks the first heavy strike with perfect form. He effortlessly ducks the follow-up. Snapping back instantly, our MC counters with a lethal upward vertical slash. Steel grazes Build's neck, a narrow miss that leaves our boy annoyed. For your information, this villain hails from the notorious Blue Flower Island, a power-hungry conqueror. But the real mystery is, why is a high-level predator lurking in the noob-filled tutorial? The Orang Council's filth, the Blue Flower Island, and those cursed human farms. They're all interconnected. It all leads back to this scum and his puppet master, Ryan. Right after backstabbing Jongwoo, that snake Ryan secured a high-ranking executive seat on Blue Flower Island. Yet he was still salty, fuming, because he couldn't crack the elite top-tier rankings. Yeonwoo senses a hidden agenda. Maybe the entire Orang Council is just a front for something darker. It's a massive cover-up. Connecting the dots, our MC turns up the heat, unleashing a relentless assault. Build is forced back. He swings wild, but Yeonwoo vaults into the air and literally stomps his face into the dirt. The commander is low-key shaking. How is a fresh tutorial player this cracked? Both warriors reset their stances. Build is spiraling, unable to process how he's getting absolutely washed. In this moment, Yeonwoo is vibing, calling out his opponent for being mid, channeling his dark energy. The masked warrior realizes Build once had real talent. His current weakness suggests he somehow lost his original power. He's shook. Build stands paralyzed, stunned that this stranger knows his deepest secrets. How does this nobody know everything? Meanwhile, Yeonwoo focuses all his energy on overclocking his mana pools. He locks eyes with the terrified commander. The duel ends in a crimson flash as Build's arm is severed. He's looking pathetic on the ground. Yeonwoo looms like a god of death, but the fodder minions decide to intervene. Awakening a Shadow Blade, Yeonwoo erases several goons in one clean sweep, then deletes 2 more. The leader tries to crawl away like a worm, screaming at his men to stop the monster. They're paralyzed with fear. They're frozen until Build triggers puppeteering, a forbidden skill that turns his own men into mindless meat shields. A last resort move for sure. It buys him just enough time to flee while his brainwashed squad piles on. Build sprints for the stone, thinking it's his winning ticket. Little does he know, Yeonwoo's voice is already chillingly close. His cold gaze says it all. He's 10 steps ahead. The resulting bloodbath wipes the Orang Council off the map. Only one rat remains on the loose, our main target, Build. Cut to the dungeons. Our redhead friend is wondering why the whole place is popping off with chaotic noise. Pure panic. He's worried about being buried alive if this cave caves in, but then his partner finally stirs. His buddy wakes up and drops a truth bomb. The most unlucky guy in this room is actually Khan. Doyle only signed up for this mess because he's loyal to him. Now they're just bickering like an old couple. They're bonding over their cursed luck using dark humor. To cope with the end, Doyle wants to roast Khan one last time, but the redhead thinks it's a waste of breath. Where's Yeonwoo anyway? Doyle bets their loner friend has already cleared Section G by now solo, as always. He's likely long gone from this area. Khan just laughs, salty that he couldn't leak the Section G hidden piece intel to Yeonwoo, which could have at least been useful. That would have made things better. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoes through the dark. It's our boy. The conversation snaps shut. The door flies open, revealing a chilling silhouette before their very eyes. It's the masked warrior. Despite his cold exit earlier, he returns to shatter their heavy chains. Seeing their pathetic state, Doyle starts fangirling while Yeon-woo plays it cool like it was luck. Khan regrets being a jerk and thanks him. But our MC demands every drop of hidden intel. The redhead knows Yeon-woo never works for free. Though exhausted, he prepares to pay the price. Trapped and broken, Doyle realizes they're just dead weight to their savior. Locking eyes, they reach a painful decision. They beg Yeon-woo to leave them behind and flee. But Yeon-woo drops a bomb. The Orang group is already dead. The redhead is totally speechless. Doyle gapes, asking if he soloed them all. MC shrugs, leaving Khan fuming at being ignored. One last detail. Yeon-woo reveals that Beely managed to crawl out alive. Khan wonders if the leader is hiding nearby. He knows the group's true sickening goal here. These monsters are using players as living sacrifices to craft a legendary cursed item. They push deeper into the dungeon. Yeon-woo notes how well this human farm was hidden away. The stench of rotting corpses is suffocating. It's a grim reminder of the lives lost here. Fresh blood stains the stone floor. This confirms recent executions. In alchemy, souls are considered the highest possible ingredient. This dark ritual is a forbidden taboo. Grinding down bodies for power carries a lethal risk. A mountain of corpses was sacrificed for one object, a testament to their absolute depravity. To Yeon-woo, it's an abomination. He's certain Billy is trapped. Together they will end him. Suddenly, he turns to see vengeful spirits swirling in the cold air. These are the ghosts of the sacrificed seeking justice. Standing before them, Yeon-woo makes a move. He offers a deal with a smirk. Meanwhile, a panicked Billy frantically flees toward his prize. He finally reaches the dark stone, gasping. He reflects on months spent crafting this cursed artifact. Beely stayed in the shadows while his peers ascended. He sacrificed everything for this singular task. He wanted to offer this stone to his master, but now his own life is threatened. Cornered, he makes a desperate gamble and consumes the stone's raw, volatile mana. Swallowing the stone triggers a surge. Two lethal outcomes usually await the one who tries. Either his body explodes from the pressure, or he transcends into a far greater monster. The stone was unfinished, risking detonation. Beely prays it's stable enough to grant him power. Beely prays it's almost finished. But the stone's effects are chillingly strange. Beely's body remains stubbornly unchanged, fueling his absolute panic over a misstep. As he spirals, Yeon-woo's cold voice shatters the silence, mocking his failed escape. The ghost assassin has arrived, standing before his prey with lethal intent. Yeon-woo ridicules him for wasting lives. All that blood in the stone is a dud. Driven mad by failure, Beely lashes out, screaming at the warrior for hunting them down. He demands to know why Yeon-woo holds this grudge. They've never even met before today. Amused, our hero reaches for his face. He's ready to show Beely his true nightmare. The mask hits the floor. Yeon-woo taunts him, asking if he recognizes his executioner now. Beely's jaw drops as he stares into those cold, murderous eyes. The intensity freezes his blood. The rat is cornered. Yeon-woo slowly approaches, whispering how much he's anticipated this moment. Behind him, the shadow of Jung-woo flickers. It's the one ghost Beely feared would return. We don't see the end, but Yeon-woo extracts every secret through a symphony of pain. After his brother's fall, Team Arthea crumbled. The alliance broke, and the tower shifted forever. Former Arthea members forged their own selfish paths to power. They gained everything at the cost of Jong-woo's life, erasing him from the history books. Clad in ice, Jong-woo questions if these spineless traitors feel even a shred of guilt. For the nightmare they inflicted on his brother, he knows these monsters truly lack any humanity. Channeling his brother's ghost, Yeon-woo looms over Bill's shattered body as he bleeds and begs for death. The agony is unbearable, but his tormentor isn't exactly the type to grant any dying wishes. He denies the mercy kill. While Bild screams, Yeon-woo summons a few old friends to the party. They've been starving for a chat with the Arat leader. With one snap, the spectral horrors rise. These lingering shadows became vengeful wraiths after their lives were stolen. These lost souls had no choice, except to become fodder for the stone. They have craved his blood for a very long time. Now serving as Yeon-woo's loyal soldiers, he lets them loose to dismantle the bastard piece by piece. The commander cries for mercy, screaming that he's already talked. Imagine being in such total hell that you beg your nemesis for the grave, but our boy stays cold as shadows start feasting. They tear into Bild's flesh. Arat is finally wiped out, and Yeon-woo steps back into the light. He notes that the ghosts finally got their payback. Suddenly, a bizarre corpse grabs his attention. It's Bild's physical form now, stained pitch black like the shadows. Did he really want to survive? In those final seconds,